now. Holy shit, folks.
I always remind people, I am suspended for life for minor hockey.
It's my duty to please the booty.
Did you catch a rattlesnake and then drive home with it in your car holding it the whole time?
Yep.
Phil only drinks Coke. He doesn't drink water. I'll fucking quit.
Fugazis.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 449 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney, for my friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. How we doing, everyone? Another season in the books. Still got the draft, little free agency yet to come, but another big trip for the boys, a great one. Let's go around the table here. Murls, thanks for joining us. Late notice. How we doing, my friend?
I'm doing a lot better. The voice is still not back to 100% after that 2-week run, but it's good to be back. I'm back at my parents in Troy, New York. I am relaxing. I'm drinking water. I'm hanging out at the pool, my wife and kid. So it's a lot different than last time I saw you guys in Vegas.
You think you actually have a normal person voice, but it's carved into what it is now based on all the Bender weekends? So you've had to adapt on how to speak coming out of the Bender weekends?
Yeah, I'm afraid this is maybe my voice now forever. I think there was an actor, I don't know if it was Cuba Gooding Jr. or somebody like that. They had to do a different voice for a movie, and after the 9 months of doing it, he just got stuck with it for a long time. So I'm hoping, I'm still hydrating, I'm still on the loss.
Good thing it wasn't radio for Cuba, or he would be. That would have been a tough one to stick with.
Yeah, fact check that one for me, RA. You're the movie guy, but there was somebody that did
I
that.
can confirm it wasn't radio.
I forgot about that movie. Holy
I can confirm it's not radio, Murls. That's like with no prior knowledge coming into this.
Murls, have you logged how many miles you traveled this season? Do you keep track of it?
No, that's a good idea, though. I should do that. I think the tax man would want to know where I am at all times, though, so maybe I don't want to release that.
No shit. Definitely want to keep that in the down low. Next up, let's go to the Whit Dog, Ryan Whitney. What's going on, my man? How we doing?
Not much at all. I'm just hanging. That was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, holy shit. Of course they're gonna win it while we're there. The video I dropped of Murls as we left each other on Wednesday morning or whatever it was like we met at the airport and just hammered like a 24-ouncer, and I was wrecked again. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I actually don't feel that bad for not sleeping. Although I guess if you never go to sleep and then have another beer, like I guess why wouldn't you be wrecked again? But I thought I kind of sobered up a little bit. But we went hard. We saw one of the most electric atmospheres in sports history. I'll stand by that. I haven't been to a professional soccer game or a World Cup game, but hockey-wise, holy shit. Murls did every single game. The Chiclets Decathlon, one of the all-time greatest achievements this podcast has ever seen. And we all got to experience kind of a night with the cup. I mean, some more than others. Obviously, RA snuck in through a birthday cake and figured his way.
His name's engraved on it now.
It's on the bottom.
He got the engraver to chisel it out at the third cup party he snuck into.
Yeah, he gave the engraver the same shrooms he got in Florida. The guy hasn't been seen from since, and the cup's wilding all over the continent. But it's nice to get home. And it's nice to kind of put a wrap on the season. I mean, I know we got the draft and the awards and free agency coming up to really finish things off. But besides the second round, which is a little bit of a disappointment, I guess the conference finals obviously lacked a little juice. Overall, with the first round, it was a fun playoff to be a part of. And I was very happy for the Golden Knights. A lot of those guys have been through a lot in their careers, and they got the chance to lift it. And it was a cool story. Happy to be there.
And we're going to have a pair of them on the show a little bit later. We'll get to that in a bit. But next up, Paul Biznasty Bissonnette.
I'm coming back at you, buddy, because we had two guys on, and we lost you. The cup was won, and then RA disappears like Houdini. Now, during these two interviews, you were very quiet about what happened during these.
It was like he wasn't on the trip.
It's like you weren't on the trip. So take us through what the hell happened the minute the Stanley Cup was won. How did you find your way downstairs? How did you end up around the families? Like, what was your night like? Because I feel like you celebrated more than anybody.
Before you go, I thought you sent the group chat a text like, fucking T-Mobile Arena, fuck this place or something. So I was like, oh, I think they might have grabbed him. I thought security might have nabbed you.
It's exactly what I thought when I got that text.
And as for that biz, I don't want to take away from the interviews with those guys with my story.
So classy.
No, I mean,
okay.
people aren't tuning in to hear my goofy stories with those guys. Maybe now they are, but So no, that message it was about the signal in there, the texting. It was brutal in there. I mean, it's
I think
T-Mobile
that's
Arena.
any sporting event though. Now, like your phone doesn't work.
Yeah, it was particularly bad there. So I wasn't shitting on the arena.
I'm
I didn't
sorry
get
you
busted.
couldn't get cell reception in the dressing room, RA. I'm very, very sad. Finally, you ended up getting the
when you
Wi-Fi
have
code.
Michael's jock strap around your head, it's hard to get a signal.
Hey,
I was hiding
Michael's
in the
celebrating doing interviews, like emotional interviews. RA's like, hey, what's the Wi-Fi code in here? Hey, let me hop on the Wi-Fi here. Oh, fuck.
So what'd you do, RA?
Stayed for the cup presentation. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's
Where were
historic
you
thing to
during
see.
that?
At the seats.
He was
I
doing
at the seat.
pyro.
Oh, we were
Yeah,
we were at the seats. Oh no, me and Murls.
No,
ended
we were
in,
up
like
in the
that
top.
box.
Yeah.
You're up in the box, yeah.
Well, then someone snagged my seat before the third, so I was down a row. So you might not have seen me there. No, I sat in the seat, watched all the cup presentation. Then everybody was at that level above. I found you guys up there, and someone left my charger there. And a couple guys were using it, and I was like, "Oh, I think that's mine." The guy's like, "He said, can I use it for a couple minutes?" He had an accident. I was like, "Yeah, okay," but I don't want to say no. So I took a piss. Everybody left. I didn't know where anyone went. I got ghosted on the text. So I talked to these guys. They were friends with Wild Bill. So they're like, "Oh, just come with us." So I, why not? Went in Rome.
Philip. It was
Yeah,
Philip.
no,
Guys
it
we were
wasn't,
hanging
no.
out with Philip and
Super agent.
the
No,
one
it
guy
wasn't
flew
Phil-
in. No,
Yeah, no, it wasn't Philip. Definitely wasn't Philip because we went to dinner with him the night
That's
before. They were just-
Carlson's agent, Wild Bill's
Yeah.
agent. So we're going to get to Wild Bill in a little bit here, but we're getting to Wild RA right now. Keep going.
So everyone left, and I was like, all right, I'll let the guy use my charger. And they're like, hey, come with us, downstairs. And you know how they had that party, whatever, like in the arena. I don't know if you guys were there at all. It was like family and
We
friends
weren't.
and shit.
That's why we're asking you. Like you got in, we did not. We're not family.
So that I don't know if I snuck in. I mean, I was invited by those guys. I mean, well, when someone says come with us, it's not really a sneak.
Okay, so you don't want to rat out the family member that made you Uncle Fester?
The guy who had you put a mustache on before you went in.
That was great down there too. I mean, there was tons of people just shooting the shit. It was a good
Lobster.
vibe, and all of a sudden, everyone just started bailing because they were going to what was the place that what was the name of that? The first club, Jewel there, and so everyone just kind of separated. I was by myself, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a couple beers, go to the room, smoke a joint, kind of reestablish my bearings, see what's going on because no one was answering the text. So I look right now. The guys I had seen a half hour earlier that I was in the elevator with, I saw them and a bunch of other guys going down the escalator into Jules. So I was like, kind of slithering here with Trojan horse style. They were like, hey, what's up? A couple of guys said hi. I just stood there. The bouncers all thought I was with those guys. So right into Vamoose, right into fucking Jewel. And then we hung out there for however long. I mean, lose track of time. And then everyone split up from there. But I got friendly with I think it might have been a front office guy, his brother. We were hanging out, doing a bunch of drinking. So when I left with him, he gave me a wristband. We took one of the shuttles together. So I was pretty much legit by that time. So
all right,
yeah,
Speaking of shuttles,
that was incredible. That was incredible. You don't sneak
Free.
into these places. We all just figured it out by you telling the story. You just ride the wave.
Yeah,
And the wave
act
just
like you own the
takes.
place.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Guys, Whit here. We know what's up. It's Pink Whitney time. It's the drink of the season. It's the drink of the year. Possibly even the drink of the century. We'll see in a few years how that ends up going. But listen, I got a lot of people in my DM saying, wait, you're talking about Pink Whitney. You're talking about Pink Whitney all over the golf course, all over the beach. How about us lake people? I got a bunch of people in Muskoka up in Ontario. Bring up the lake people. So you know what? If you're out there ripping around the lake, putting your feet in the soggy bottom. I'm not a lake guy. It's too creepy at the bottom. But if you're putting your feet in the lake, if you're a tubing guy on the lake, that's where Pink Whitney's at. It's water, it's land, which makes up the entire earth, and there's Pink Whitney everywhere. We got guys all over LACC for the U.S. Open this week. Send me pictures of Pink Whitney nips they're sneaking in. We got apparently F1 racers drinking our stuff, G. I know I'm not ready to say names, but apparently we got some F1 guys into the Pink Whitney. So we got fast cars, we got slow golfers, we got crazy-ass people on a lake, and we got lunatics out on the beach where the sharks swim, because the sharks know what's up, too. That's Pink Whitney, baby. And I just want to say to everyone, once again, thank you so much for enjoying the drink. Thank you so much for buying it. It's kind of a... It's a pleasure of my life to know that I've been able to share this drink with so many others that have caught a buzz, maybe talked to a girl they were too nervous to talk to because of that pink drink, give them a little confidence. It's all about Pink Whitney, and we appreciate your support. I'll always love you, and thank you so much for enjoying it. All sizes, one flavor, one name, the Whit Dog, Pink Whitney. Biz, but speaking of shuttles, though, like I sat down in my seat, and one of my buddies from home, he's like, "Look who my buddies found." All right, I don't even know if you remember this, but my buddy, his friends were out at the game, and they had like a 6 Sprinter van, and there's just a picture of you on the Sprinter van with these guys, like ripping a bowl. I was like,
just
he's
ripping
like,
out
I
hundreds.
don't know how he met him. I
making
don't know
it
where
rain.
they met him, but RA's on these dudes' bus now. I was like, this guy is an international man of mystery.
He was
Last
lying the
weekend,
whole time. He had a
right
feature
before
on
the
Vegas.
game. Right before the game,
Oh.
you were on a bus with some guys.
Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Holy shit.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't know. I think I got lost going through New York or some shit. Yeah, I forgot about that fucking thing. Holy shit, what a
Should
day.
we go
But yeah,
back? I mean, should we go back to
Yeah.
this dinner we had with this guy? He just shows up. We go to the tables. Next thing you know, Houdini. He was gone again. You're the international man of mystery. Murls, you were there gambling. By the way, I know the worst odds in the casino, but fucking 3-card poker me right in the 5-hole all day long.
It's a great game. And,
I love it.
drinking game.
I love it.
We were getting smoked, dude. I got in there Sunday and like had like a bankroll. We're just getting killed. And I just needed something to slow down the pace. I mean, blackjack, boom, lost, double lost, boom. And so, boom, Murls like, let's do some 3-card poker. Well, we all had a little bit of success. We also had fun because you could take time looking at your cards. If you want to play the hand, you want to fold, whatever. Well, finally, we won something. It was like I don't know why we didn't play that game longer, but it actually gave us a little bit of time to not just lose everything in 7 minutes. Some of the grumpiest dealers in the history of dealing at the and all right, you've been going to Vegas a lot longer than I have. Like, I don't know if that's changed where as a dealer, like you're making your hourly wage and I understand like some of these people probably hate their job, but the more the people win, the more money you get on tips. So I don't understand. We sat down at one table. 5 minutes in, I go, nope, not doing this. Nope, this lady's an absolute fucking, I won't say it. I was like, I'm out of here. And
G had won 8 out of 9 hands, and Whit
should
didn't
do that.
believe her. She was
I
grumpy.
go, we're out. And Grinelli's like, I'm winning though. I'm like, I don't care. Let's go.
And you got
But
to
it
drink
was,
with your buddies because it's a team event.
Also at the game, so I was texting with Sean Avery, and he's like, hey, I'm walking into the arena, him and Conley, those two beauties. So like Avery ended up taking our seats for the third period. We went up to this box, and then we just were like with those two guys after. I lit up a cigarette in that Hyde Lounge. The woman's like, hey, you're in the arena. You can't smoke. I was like, oh, we won the cup, though. We won the cup. And the whole time I was so miserable. Murls and I sat. We really only watched the last 6 minutes of the third. We were like at a back table, and I was complaining the whole time because my dad and I were texting.
Oh yeah,
that was the biggest lock in
sports
world's history. I put $4,000 on the money line or whatever,
Peasant.
and then like another bet on the first period. So I won, but I was so mad. That was a call the bank, call the financial advisor, send me out $1 million.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it on this game and I'm going to win. And I was just like, how do I lose all that money gambling with nonsense dealers like a complete clown and not put like Ryder's college tuition savings on the game? We would have figured out a public Boston State that RA went to or whatever college if the game had lost, but they weren't losing. So I'm still pissed off. Like I should be just swimming in it.
I don't even gamble, and I was mad that I didn't throw.
I know. Even you said it. You said it the night before to me.
Night before, I go, this is over, right? Especially at the fact that Tkachuk was questionable, Duclair was questionable. You knew other guys on Florida were banged up. I mean, we'll get more to the break-in, but the fact that I didn't, or breakdown, excuse me, not the break-in, Jesus, that I didn't lay down at least $10,000 on that one.
Yeah, it was like, I remember we're walking into the arena and Murls has checking his phone. He's like, no Tkachuk. And I was like, oh my God. Like I wanted to sprint to a casino, but I had no cash left. I was like, this is when that was like their heart was taken out of them. And that was the final death blow. Then fast forward to after. So my family was in Portugal, as I was talking about. And we went to the club. We went to Omnia where the cup's going. We got there at like 2:30 or I don't know, 1:30. They put us in maybe the biggest pigeon table in Vegas, about 4 miles away from where the DJ was. And Biz is like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think Avery and I are having
shelf.
cigarettes up there. He's like, what are we doing here? We're fucking 6 miles from the stage. Like, and so Biz, you were just like, nope, give us another table. So whatever, we party there, and finally I'm like, Murls, this is like, I can't do this anymore. Like the music, the house music, I'm 40 years old. I look like I'm 60.
Same.
I'm like, I'm done. As we're walking out, the cup's coming in. I'm like, Murls and I literally like trying to look over a wall as we're getting ushered out just to see the top of the bowl. RA sitting in it. And
Eating
so I
Cocoa
get
Puffs.
outside. So it's 4. So 7 in Boston plus 5. It's like noon in Portugal. And all of a sudden, like, the FaceTime rings. And I'm like, hey, babe. And she's like, what the fuck? I'm like, we're partying with the cup. And then I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I get off the phone, and this guy comes up. He's like, hey, man, I know Biz. I know Biz well. I played with Biz. I was like, oh, what'd you play, in the OHL or something? He's like, I'm Amadio. It was Amadio.
Amadio.
Great guy. I felt so bad. I ran after him like, congrats, bro. He's like, yeah, sweet, dude. You fucking don't even know who I am. Nice analyst. But, yeah, then we went back and gambled till the flight. I mean, just a horrible flight home. Didn't sleep a minute.
What? Oh, man.
I don't sleep on planes. Me and Murls.
I figure with the
Gotta
24
go
ouncer,
waffle.
it would help just liquid glaze you.
Oh, no, I was drinking like canned wine, like Murls canned wine.
Canned wine. I never heard of this until that flight. That
Good
was the
shit.
craziest
So
thing ever.
I actually can't stay awake because of the propeller noise. It
What
trances
plane?
me
You're
out.
on a plane with a propeller?
What are you, Indiana
No,
Jones?
the sounds of the engine that like there's
That
there's a
knocks you
sound.
out.
It just it like hypnotizes me every time. I can't stay awake on planes. Rarely do I stay
I'd
awake
kick
on
a
a
cat
plane.
across the street if I could fall asleep on a plane, dude.
I think one of the other crew members had a run-in with the cup. Where's our producer, Mikey G? You had a little
Yeah, G.
cup interaction. Where are you, buddy?
Yeah, so I had maybe the biggest rebuttal of my life, biggest comeback story of my entire existence.
Okay,
So
here we
first
go.
off, anyone who says Ryan Whitney does not defend his friends and fight for the boys, they're wrong. They are wrong. Wait, I don't know if you
people said
remember.
that.
I spilt the guy. I spilt the drink on a guy at the casino, and
Oh, I forgot
guy
about
just-
that.
the guy just absolutely loses it on me. Like I've never been yelled at before, just belittling me. And I'm just sitting there like taking it. And Whit walks up as this is happening and just loses it on this guy. Basically is like, I'll fucking kick your ass right now. You're from Toronto. You would be from Toronto, you fucking pussy.
There's more to
Whoa!
this story.
How did you know it was from Toronto?
Because listen, there's more to this story. This guy, I was playing first, but then I lost all my money. So then I was walking around, I was like on the phone, but I had spilt a drink on the table. Whatever. I mean, we're not exactly all in like great shape at this point.
That might explain why the dealers hate your guts.
we were at a table. We were at a table with Conns and Avery and Murls,
And it was the
everyone's
very
losing.
first table we could find from the arena. Like we didn't even search. As soon as we saw green felt, we sat down.
Oh yeah, but so we're all losing. So I went to another table. G came with me. I spilled the drink. I was apologizing. Now we're talking to this guy, and I'm trying to like strike up conversation with him. He's one of the all-time biggest losers I've ever sat at a gambling table with. Like this little miserable prick. I'm trying to get anything out of him. He's like, I'm a Maple Leafs fan. I was like, oh, that explains it. You're a loser. And he didn't, I'm like joking, like the dealer's laughing, and he's just, this guy's like, meh. So I spilled the drink. I'm very apologetic. Pit boss, no worries, comes over, dries it off. I lose my money. So I'm kind of like standing nearby, and then I see Grinelli knock over his beer. Dude, this guy acted like it was acid, like getting on his like fucking stonewashed Jabot jeans that were his number one pair in Vegas.
The afflictions.
And he's like, you're a fucking idiot. And I was like, what the fuck? And she's just sitting there taking it. He's just like, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, I'll fucking slap you in the face. He's like, I was like, you're being a little pussy. You are the definition of a Maple Leafs fan, you little motherfucker. You suck. Your team sucks. I hope you lose all your money. And dude, this guy shut up quick. He shut up
Instantly.
quick. He must have thought I was like a legitimate, like tough person.
Well, you're a big dude. You're a big
What?
dude. You're a big dude.
Yeah, you have
know?
pants on. They can't see your ankles, so you're good. Like they're no, I'm serious.
By the way,
They're like,
the whole
oh, this
time-
guy's huge.
the whole time I was so mad. He was legit berating G. And I'm
Yeah, it was
so
killing
mad,
me.
and in my head, I'm like, dude, if this guy like calls me out right now, like I'm gonna get dummied. Like if you're willing to like come back, I'm like, please don't say anything back. Please don't say anything back.
You ever seen those online clips of that guy? Looks like Brad Marchessault with the huge snout.
Oh my God.
And he's it would have been him beating you up. You would have been the next that.
So best part is, I'm like, let's get out of here, Granelli. We walk back. Murls has his shirt off. He's winning. Murls is running around the table. He's finally winning with Conley. Murls is doubling 14s and shit. Like I don't know what he was doing.
We were on fire. I turned my last 50 into like 1600 all of a sudden. Just kept doubling it.
Oh,
But me spilling my drink on the guy was my sign that I gotta go upstairs. I gotta take a quick shower. I gotta like, if I want to go the distance tonight with the cup, I gotta like rest and recuperate. So
wow.
yeah, I try to do the responsible decision, and I go upstairs. I take a shower. I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, and this is 11:30, and bang, I wake up, and it's 2:30 in the morning. I have 50 text messages from every one of you guys.
Oh, that's why you were
Everyone
so
that was
late.
in Las Vegas texted me and was like, "Where are you?" They're sending me pictures of them with the cup. I screamed as loud as I possibly could in my hotel room. I start like pulling my hair out. I'm like, "I did it! It happened! I missed the cup! So I put my clothes back on without thinking, just right away, put my clothes back on, and I start sprinting to Omnia. So I get on the strip. Boys, I sprint as fast as I possibly
No
can.
shit.
My calves still hurt. I sprint as fast as I can to Omnia. As I get into Omnia, Phil Kessel and Mark Stone are walking out with the cup. So I'm like, all right, I gotta go.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So I'm like, I gotta go say what's up to them. I go say hi. I'm like, hey, I'm Mike Grinnell from Chiclets. They looked right through me. They couldn't even see me. But regardless, I end up going into. They went to the bar next to the club. I end up going into Omnia. I see RA. I see Biz. This is the end of the night. This is 3:30 at this point. So that's the end of the night. End of Omnia, basically. So I'm leaving Omnia, and I see Larry Flowers. And Larry Flowers is like, come with me. I think they were hitting like Spearmint and Rhino or something. And I'm like, fucking right. I need something to cheer my night up. So I'm walking with them to the Uber, and a bunch of the Vegas Golden Knights walk by. And who do I see tailing behind them is my buddy, Johnny Lazarus, a couple of the Empty Netter guys. And they're like, hey, Ike's just told us to go to McMullen's. And I'm like, where's McMullen's? And they're like, it's a dive bar, like 25, 30 minutes off the strip. It's open 24 hours. I'm like, fuck it. What do I got to lose? Like, I'll go. So we go to this dive bar. We're the only people in there. And I'm like, boys, what the fuck? Like, I was going to Spearmint
Pigeon
Rhino.
tossed.
I'm like, I'm going with Mackel, with like all these big spenders. Like, I'm going to Spearmint Rhino. I'm going to have the time of my life. And they're like, fuck, we fucked up. Like, let's just have a friend beer and then let's go home. I'm like, all right, boys. Friend beer. We all cheers. Right as we cheers, who comes storming in the door? Jack Eichel.
No shit.
With
Jack
Lord
Eichel.
Stanley?
Come
Hey,
on.
a bunch of the boys come in, and right away I'm like, Jack? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? How did you end up
told
at
me to come
McMullen's?
here, remember?
No, he never
like the
told me. He
stalker.
told the other guys.
Oh, yeah.
You
He's
yeah.
think
like,
you're a Tanner, you're like, hey, Jack. I knew you guys were going to be here.
I followed you here. But yeah, so we stayed there. We stayed at this place, McMullen's, all night with Jack. He was breaking down he went like series by series with us. Because at this point, like I wouldn't say he was sober, but it was the very, very end of the night. So we were just like eating food. Like we weren't even drinking that much at this point, but he went through series by series. He was like breaking down each guy on Florida to me. And I was texting with Pasha after the fact, and I'm like, he's like, fuck, that sucks. Like, you missed Omni. And I was like, you know what? Like,
No.
I'm actually kind of happier that I ended up like being able to talk face to face with these guys, like sitting around a table with them at 7 a.m. as the sun comes up. Like, they're breaking down how they just won the Stanley Cup to me. I was like,
as Whit said, the shit
Dude,
gets
I
so...
was trying to talk to Biz in there. I'm like, this isn't my scene. I used to be a club rat. I'm just an old grandpa now.
You got any gum?
Yeah.
Hey,
My
I'll put the
voice
fact-
will never
My
be the
breath,
same.
you got any gum? I'll text you.
My breath, shit breath.
Oh,
Need
oh, wait.
gum.
I forgot to tell you guys, though, one of the funniest parts of why you guys are going to bury me. The second I walk into Omnia, I walked right into the bathroom and threw up everywhere.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I was so out of shape. Because I was like,
Oh yeah,
from
time
the
eight.
run.
Now
Too
we're
many
off the
gaggers.
road. Get back to the trainer. That's tough. Sore
yeah, that was
calves.
bad.
from a run. But hey,
was
so
probably
that
a
was
half-mile
kind of
run,
as
too.
my night was winding down, and you didn't really miss much, probably up until about 30 minutes as they came in. They got on the mic, they did their celebration. I hadn't drank in like 4.5 months, so I was having a fun time. Right after the game, and we finished the broadcast, I was able to go hang out with the whole TNT crew, and we can get to that gambling story.
Oh my
Whit,
God.
get back to that.
crazy.
But then we ended up going to Omnia. We were probably there for 2.5 hours. They did that, and then that was enough. By then, I was fucking ready to shut her down, and like you said, the noise. So you kind of ended up going on the best journey of them all. RA, I'm kind of disappointed. You've now lost your throne as the sneak-in guy, where we got Mr. G. You got the young legs coming for you.
behind the bar at McMullen.
Oh,
I was bar backing. No, actually, G did give me the heads up. He texted me about 4:30, said at McMullen's. I put it in the map. It was about a 15-minute ride. I was like, I don't think I need to go off campus right now. I sat down in the lobby, played video poker. I tried to count how many hookers were in the lobby. Not the lobby. I cannot believe how many hookers they let hang out. Like, we were just talking, Vegas has changed with. I went out there first, 97. It wasn't completely corporate owned, but like they would shoo these women out of there all the time. Like, there had to be like for every guy gambling, there probably 3 or 4 hookers. And I'm not, no judgment, not my style. I'm a happily married guy.
Were you there taking analytics or something? Were you asking
No,
them?
I fake negotiate with them. I kind of like mess with them. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, how much for that? Well, what do I get? And I make them like say it. Really. Oh yeah. I was like, yeah. Well, they fucking cost you when you're walking around.
Do you have arb rights?
Where's my agent?
What's your Corsi like?
But you used to never see that many, like, it's been like so-called higher end places out there. But they're all over.
So what
the
does
place.
it cost for a BJ from somebody in a casino in Vegas right now? On average,
it was two for one. They were a package deal. They wanted $400 for a fucking hump thing. I was like, yeah.
He's like,
go fucking hamster.
Let me check my wallet.
Ex-hamster back
I
in the room.
got
I'll see
this
you later.
coupon on the strip. Does this
save a nickel?
Does this help me save any money?
Hey, so back to so before Omnia, because I hadn't seen Biz. He's like, come over here to
All right, you are in fine form right now, buddy.
what's the room in? It's like the high limit room, whatever.
So that's where I got to go to end the night with the TNT crew and say our goodbyes. It was a fun year. We'll get to that in a little bit too.
Oh yeah,
with that show that Tommy
Oh my
boy put
God!
on.
So I come in, and Biz is at a table with one guy. I mean, let's just call him Mr. Papa Giorgio. So I'm walking over, and Biz is like, sit down, and then kind of looked at the guy to get like the okay. The guy kind of looks me up and down, and he's like, yeah, you could gamble with us. Like, I didn't understand. It was this guy's table. And I look over, I'm like, what are those whites? They're $5,000 chips. All right, the guy's playing 50 G's a hand, 3 hands. 35 to 50 G's a hand, 3 hands. He's getting 16, dealer showing king. He's just, what's it called, Murls?
Submitting.
Surrender.
I never even knew that was a thing.
Split 'em.
Dude, he's surrendering 25 G's. He's not, which I actually think if you're playing huge money.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But so I sit down. I started playing like, I don't know, $400 a hand. I started actually winning a little bit. I was playing like $1,000 a hand. And Biz is playing anchor, RA. Biz is playing $25 a hand, okay? Biz, the guy is like kind of all over the map. Like he like would just get up and like we immediately had to wait. Like and the other part is, so the pit boss and comes over. He's like, hey, do you remember me? I'm like, no. He's like, do you remember when you and Murley were at the about 10 years ago and you guys were winning in craps and you were on the rug, swimming on the rug?
I remember this conversation. Yes.
He's like, I was the dealer. I'm like, holy shit. He goes,
All
that was an
coming together.
unbelievable run. So this guy would get up and go talk to people, and we just had to wait. Like, it was his table, and his buddy was with me, and it was kind of like they were very close friends. I think they worked together, like his handler in a way. And I'm like, what's this guy's deal? He's kind of explaining to me who he is, and he's like, dude, I've seen him win and lose like $5 million. Like, it's like I don't know. I don't even understand the point of gambling at that point. Like, it's almost like I guess it's straight up like chump change. But so he's now in the middle, and he's taking a while. He's got 150 grand on the table, dude, and he's trying to decide what to do, and he's talking to people. Biz has $25, and he's like, hey, buddy, come on. He's bullying this guy. He's bullying this guy. And then I was losing hands, but if the other guy won, I was like, I just want you to win. And Biz is like, fuck. And he lost a $50 couple.
It's all
guy
relative.
All right, the guy took he got $700,000 markers. He would sign a piece of paper, they give him $100,000.
Oh, yeah.
Lose it.
He
Sign
was
a piece
leaking
of paper,
oil.
give him $100,000.
Hey, he was leaking oil. Hey, but I made 200.
Biz made $200. I will never see somebody gamble like that again. And Murls came over and goes, what are the whites? I go, 5Ks. There's 50 of them up there. It was nuts.
I won a couple $100 though. Hey, it all evens out in the wash.
Oh, you bullying that guy with that amount of
It was
money?
weird though. It was like first of all, the concept of it being his table, I don't think I truly understand it till the other pit boss was like, well, it's his table, buddy. I just thought we had to.
Yeah, because I was trying to play at another table, and they're like, "No, this table's reserved." I'm like, "What? That one? No, that's reserved for this guy." They're all singly reserved for like extra players or something.
Yeah, for a guy who's about to get $700,000 $100,000 markers.
Yeah, the guy gave me the.
The guy's like, nope.
He manute balled him. He'd seen enough of me.
I was going to play with Reds. I was going to play $10 hands.
Hey, he'd seen enough of me giving it the pumper, nickel as I win a quarter as he drops $100K in a hand. I had my guy. I had my guy.
Oh, that guy got rinsed. Dude.
Oh, no wonder he fucking blocked my number.
All right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at The League. Let's talk about the newest league you guys need to join. No, it's not an NBA bracket or a fantasy football team. It's a dating app called The League, designed for busy, career-oriented people to find their other half. Many athletes, especially those making a career out of it, have the passion and work ethic the league looks for in their users. You don't have to be from an Ivy League school, rich, or a CEO to join. So whether your passion is business, music, or sports, if you value your time, refuse to settle, and want to find that in a partner, then the league is for you. And speaking of the league's user base, they boast a 60-40 girl-to-guy ratio. So the straight guys are looking at much better odds here compared to the mainstream apps where you're lucky if there's 30% women. The league believes a supportive partner is the best career accelerator there is. So when you're ready to find your special someone, pick a partner who will challenge you to swing for the fences. Download the league for free and meet your equal today.
Oh,
speaking of getting rinsed, Murls, didn't Tana Mongeau kind of jinx your whole weekend there?
Oh, the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Gee, thank you so much for bringing this up. And G, by the way,
I forgot about her.
Who knew? I'm sitting next to Wayne Gretzky, and G comes up with the best Stanley Cup story of all of us. Bravo, buddy. That was quite the comeback, G. And you're now the sneaky undercover cup god from the podcast. Sorry, RA, you've been dethroned. You didn't
with
make it to McGulligan's.
Following them around.
Had it for a while.
Mongeau.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to this girl. She's internet famous. 10 million followers on Instagram. But as Murls, she's always going to be known as the Black Widow.
Yeah, I had obviously had no clue who she was. You see like these 5 girls come in and this big redheaded guy with a duffel bag. And I think I joked like, oh, what do you do?
Carrot Top.
Like, is that all your cash in there? Like you guys big time players? And no. But this girl ends up coming to sit down. It's 3-card poker. And once again, Biz is bullying the table. So he's trying to tell her how to bet. And she's like, I got this. She's like, I'm from Vegas, blah, blah. So, that's interesting. Like, where you live now? She's like, I live in LA, but I'm from Vegas. And I'm like, well, what are you guys doing? She's like, oh, these are just my friends. Don't worry about it. She's trying to place her bet. So Biz is yelling at her, play this. She's like, leave me alone. I know how to do this.
Seat order goes myself, Whit, Black Widow, Murls is at the caboose.
Yeah. And I've lost, I haven't won all trip. I finally start winning. I think I turned 400 into 2,400. And I was only
ripping.
I had stacks. I had to get paid in red chips. I'm like, only pay me in red chips.
Yeah, he's that dickhead.
And I was building towers in front of me. And everything was going great. And I didn't even make it realize it because I'm used to blackjack. If somebody jumps in, it's going to screw all the cards up anyway. But with 3-card poker, she's getting my 3 cards, whoever jumps in that spot.
I knew it right away. I was like, oh no. Oh,
and
no.
I was just so high. I was like, on life, I was just like, I'm going to win. I'm winning everything. Like, let's go. Not that kind of high, RA.
I was surprised. Like, Murls, you holding out on me or what?
And lo and behold, she gets a pair of 9s. She gets the Gretzky 9-9. So she wins. She wins her bonus. She wins this. I get crap. I think I got enough to play.
You
so
got
it was even worse.
And then she came in with an ace king over your ace queen. So just
exactly. So I had
teasing ya.
enough to play. So then I lose double. So now I'm rattled. I'm like, oh no. She leaves. She leaves
gets
the
up.
table, gets in, plays one hand, is gone. What did I go on? I went on I think I won 3 out of 49 hands the rest of the night. I
Dude,
just
at
got
one point,
rinsed.
I remember I was counting. I'm like, oh, he's just lost 18 hands in a row. His giant stacks of reds are now gone. He's motherfucking this Black Widow. And like Grinelli's like, yeah, I think that girl's like famous on Instagram. Merle's like, I don't give a fuck what she's famous on.
And that's why they call her the Black Widow. It was a slow death. Like it was
She had
a quick
about a 50. She had a 50-person like team with her.
Yeah, it was the wildest scene. That's what, like, it threw me all off, and that's kind of why I let her sit down. I didn't know what was going on. It was a wild scene. I don't know what they were up to in there.
That's when I knew that the series was over, because you were talking about, Florida and the rainbows and then I saw that happen. I said, hammer the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow. That's a guarantee.
You were
That's
saying
Dragon
5-1.
Queen.
You and G were both calling 5-1. Like, we knew it was going to be a beating, and it
slaughtering.
delivered.
Yeah, it was a savage beating. Go ahead.
Well, that's another incredible story. What a fucking week that was. And wait, you weren't even in Fort Lauderdale, so
Thank God.
Should we talk about the decathlon? Will we put you through it every single year? You got off easy, 5 games.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
why
went-
I predicted the 5
That's
games. I knew I couldn't handle more.
So you went Sweden, Vegas for 4 nights, Lauderdale for 4 nights, back to Vegas for 4 nights, back to what, Troy?
Troy, yeah,
Oh
done.
my God.
You should have seen me walk into my parents' house that night off that plane.
We'll see at the draft, Murls.
I've never needed to come home to an empty house more in my life. I just walked in and I just sat on the couch, and then I woke up. It was like 3 a.m. I was like, what the fuck? I must have made a 5-pound bowl of pasta when I got in the door. Just scarfing it down. There's sauce all over me. I was like, this is a disgrace. I never want to go to Vegas again. I can't do that. Not me.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I want to say was it was an awesome rip and an awesome year with TNT, and so grateful for the entire team behind the scenes. They kind of run the ship and make it so easy. And Liam, an incredible bus driver who actually Russo ended up writing an article in The Athletic. Excuse me, I was getting them confused with the other sports media guy. Awesome article in The Athletic about Liam and his preparation and what he does in order to drive the bus, and just so dedicated to his craft. Actually, I ended up going sober for a bit because, he doesn't drink much, and I was like, hey, it's for mental clarity, I should follow him and go on the same rip. So it was awesome. So from like a friendship perspective and just like Ace as well, it was so fun. Sitting in the seat with those guys. They're veterans of their craft as well because they worked at NBC together. And then it sucked to see Talk leave halfway through the year, but then Hank ended up coming in. Army jumped in there. Yan. So from an overall perspective of the TNT side of things, it was an awesome way to end it on the road. I thought Hank jumped in and did an incredible job as well. It's so fun to get his goalie perspective, and holy fuck is he a handsome bastard. And he's better looking than Tom Brady, I'll tell you that, and we can argue about that later. But and then obviously with Wayne and having him in the mix. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody for the positive messages about the broadcast, but all the praise should go to the other cast members and all the people behind the scenes. So thank you to TNT. You guys are all fucking amazing, and couldn't be more grateful to be a part of that. And of course you fuckers too. It's really cool to be a part of both, boys. So a great cap off to a great season, and it was good to spend some time with them in that room and watch that guy lose $700K.
You guys did crush it, Biz. Everyone I talk to fans, everyone raves about TNT while also putting down ESPN a lot of the time. But everyone loved the show all year. You guys crushed it. Can't wait till next year, man.
Like I said, it's just like it's like the professionalism involved. Like I said, everybody behind the scenes, it just makes it work, and it's just really fun. And and it's they make it very easy. So thank you, RA, and we continue to try to make it better every time we get there, and we'll continue to do so, just like this show.
All right, want to talk some puck or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how about walking into the game? We had to, we did the Beer House pregame Pink Whitney party, which was a blast. Really cool, like outdoor bar setup. That was awesome. And by the time the party had ended, the game was at 5:20 start or whatever, so it's 4:15, 4:30. We're walking in. There's about 10,000 people outside the arena with Steve Aoki DJing, throwing cakes off girls' faces. I'm like, what are we doing right now? We're going into a hockey game? So I was kind of like able to experience the atmosphere before even getting into the arena. And then from the time we walked in, I would say warm-ups was 95% full. I don't know if you guys agree, but the atmosphere, we kind of knew it was going to end that night. And ironically, like Vegas didn't have a great start, but it's still, it was just to see the pregame intro for me was the best part. I mean, you get to see like the Knight come out and he's fighting the Panthers guys, and like everyone's seen it on TV, but 50 Cent doing the horn.
That's when you knew.
Yeah, that's when you. We were at the beer house outdoor party, and like somebody's like, "Look at McGregor," and McGregor's like driving in a limo with his head out the window, like screaming at everyone. I was like,
spitting at little kids.
Yeah, it was a celebration before, like at 1 p.m. It was no doubt they were winning. The celebration started. The beer house even brought out an ice sculpture of the Stanley Cup. We're pouring drinks in that thing. It was over. The whole city was celebrating at 1 p.m.
I mean, we didn't eat a thing either. Did we eat?
I had half a hot dog with G at the first intermission. That's all I ate all day.
Wait, we got to give a shout out to Erin from Iowa, the girl who she flew to Iowa from Iowa to the game by herself. She got just like I used to do. Biz. She got a single ticket. She's married. She's like, I told her husband, I'm going out to the game. She used to live in Vegas. Flew from Iowa to Vegas by herself to go to the game. Saw the title clinched, and I was like, this is my sister from another mother over here. She was a hot shit too. So before we go any further, here's a few words from our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. And they guarantee the lowest price. Hey, summertime's here. You might want to hit up a ball game, maybe some concerts. Well, you want to check out Game Time because they do the best at it. Everything is possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. The purchase process takes just 2 taps in 10 seconds. And once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text so you can get to the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to the website, enter your email, and redeem code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, we got to get to the game here. We got to move it along a little bit here. It's just their 6th year as an NHL team. The Vegas Golden Knights won their first ever Stanley Cup after trashing the Florida Panthers 9-3 in the Game 5 clincher. Mark Stone had the hat trick. Eichel and Shea Theodore each had 3 assists in the rout. How about Jonathan Marchessault? He's going to join us in a little bit. Had an assist. He had a 10-game point streak to end the playoffs. 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points in 22 games to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. There was no doubt he was going to win it, I don't think, right?
I don't know, man. I think that the morning of the Game 5, the odds, Eichel was 20-1 to win the Conn Smythe, and Marchessault was -600. So it's like, all right, well, Vegas knows that this is an enormous favorite. But Murls and I, we snuck in a bet on Eichel, being that, I mean, I think he was tied with points, or maybe one back in point. Now, granted, he only had 6 goals, and Marchessault had lit it up. But I figured, and we said, if Eichel had a big game, maybe a 2-3 goal game,
and he did,
and he had a 3 assists. You know, he didn't get the goal, but I still was like, there's a chance. And then in the end, Murls had said it before. He's like, I think the league wants to give it to an original misfit, which did make sense. But I didn't know that 18 writers vote on it, which is kind of crazy. Like, I guess I don't really know what else you do besides that. But right when Bettman was given the award, I think his first thing, he's like, and an original Golden Knight, I knew. And it made a lot of sense, leading the playoffs in goal scoring. I think it took him, would it take him 4 rounds to just beat Leon by 1 goal? But it was still, it was an amazing performance by him. And when we talk to him, we'll go into the fact, first 7 games, he didn't score, right? And then he goes on this amazing run, lights it up. So it did make sense, but I thought Eichel was a little closer than those Vegas odds, at least.
Big time.
The final vote was 13-5 on the first place votes.
I don't think anybody on planet Earth would have had a problem with it being Eichel or Marchessault. I thought that maybe Hill, as I said, going into Game 5, like, I don't think you're going to remember it as Adin Hill's playoff run. I think you're going to remember it as Jack Eichel's coming out party, or the original misfit who came through in the clutch. And it's crazy. He didn't have a goal the first 7 games, but he just caught fire. And all right, I don't know if you have the stat there. The amount of goals that he scored that were tying goals or go-ahead goals or eventual game winners is just astronomical. And as he gets to in his interview, everybody or other guys kind of stepped up in that first 7 games. I don't think they had the toughest series against Winnipeg. They were very depleted, but when it mattered most, especially in that Edmonton series, as things started to ramp up, that's when he started coming through in the clutch the way he did. And I want to say he had like 13 goals in the last 13 games.
Yeah, 10 of his 13 goals either tied the game or put Vegas ahead. I mean, that's
just
so I didn't know
right
that
there.
kind of makes even more sense for the
That
Conn
to
Smythe.
me is the yeah.
But when you talk about like one of the deepest teams I can remember, Stanley Cup champion wise, up and down the fourth line, the 6D, they were 5-2 in the games he didn't, in the 7 games he didn't score. So like it just shows like you get the Conn Smythe winner doing nothing early on, and you're 5-2. You win 4-1 against Winnipeg, and you're tied 1-1 with Edmonton. Then he pops off for 2 in Game 3, but then he never looked back, and it was cool just realizing like this team's that good where their number 1 sniper doesn't even need to score early on for them to still be running away with it.
I think just a well-oiled machine. And looking across the way, I think it could have been a closer series, but just seeing how depleted they were as far as injuries, the laundry list of injuries for Florida now came out, and the fact that they even got to where they did is pretty remarkable. But the fact that their first 2 defensemen, you got Ekblad and Montour dealing with stuff. They're saying Montour is going to be out 3 months with a torn labrum, and then your MVP forward really to not have in the finals going against that team who, we talk about it later with the guys. They could have played another round. Is what Eichel. I don't know if it was in the post Stanley Cup party where G was talking to him, but they weren't battling that many bad injuries, and they just had everybody pulling the rope, and they formed a wagon, as they say.
I mean, Matthew Tkachuk, a broken sternum. How do you even play hockey with a
How do you breathe?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane that he played and scored a friggin' goal too, man. But
Well, they
absolute
talked
warrior.
about I think Brady was there visiting him. He was helping him out of bed, helping him get dressed. The guys are helping tie his skates. It's true warrior
That's
stuff. And I
fucking
know I
crazy.
had mentioned on the episode we did in Vegas before the game, like this is an injury the guy'd be missing a lot of time in the regular season. And I think after what everyone saw in Game 4, it's just too much, right? It's like when you hear about Bergeron with the punctured lung. Apparently he wouldn't have played Game 7 had they not lost to Chicago in 2013 or whatever that was. Like I just think like you saw Tkachuk, you saw him, he just could barely move out there Game 4, yet he's still out there trying to tie it up late. And they must have realized as a staff and a guy, like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And if there's one kid that's not going to play, you know how serious an injury is with Tkachuk because of how tough he is. So an amazing – and Biz, you're right. Like, Vegas the no injuries for Vegas, and I say no injuries. Guys are battling stuff, but nothing in terms of Florida. Like, that's like the luck aspect of it.
Yeah.
That's like there's things that you really can't put into words when you look back at a Stanley Cup and realize like what went right. And part of it is like your key players didn't get injured. And Florida just had those battles. In Boston, it was 7. And then you see the physicality like ramp up. And Carolina's not an easy team to play against, Toronto, whatever. And after that, they had nothing left. They had nothing left in the tank. And so like it's unfortunate for Florida to have to go out that way. But Maurice after gave such an amazing speech talking about just what these guys went through and like how they all laid it on the line. You got to give them credit.
I think we should play it. It was with Jackie Redmond, and it was so heartfelt. And oh man, his ability to deliver these types of quotes all throughout playoffs, this was the icing on the cake.
Well, obviously not the way that you wanted this to end, and this team has battled through so many injuries, and then you lose Matthew Tkachuk tonight. We just heard you in the presser talk about his fractured sternum. How hard was it for him to accept that he could not play in this game?
Oh, I mean, there's two pieces to that. The mental part of it not being there killed him, but he knew. I mean, one of the things about him, he's an incredibly bright young man. So he can assess his own game. He knew. We all knew that the hope would be that if we could get 5 more days of rest into him, there was a chance for Game 7. But he came back. He fractured that and came back and scored the game-tying goal, net front. And then you could see him in the next game trying to find a way to play with a broken bone. And I think he had the 3 best chances we had to score. He had 3 of the 4 for sure. But clearly he also knew that the other 4 guys on the ice needed a guy who could do other things. So he accepted it. He understood.
Well, he's not the only one that battled through this series. Gudas has missed time. Duclair has missed time. Montour has missed time. What can you say about the character of this group? Because they never seem to stop fighting.
Yeah. There's 1,000 stories in that room, Jackie, truly. Aaron Ekblad broke his foot in the Boston series. May have to.
Boston?
In the Boston series. Then he popped his shoulder out twice, passed a concussion test, and tore his oblique. And he drove that puck up the ice in game 3, kept it in, and we scored tonight. So we have some incredible stories. It wasn't actually this series. The vast majority of our injuries came in the Boston series, and they survived it. And I love these guys. I've never seen a group of men. Radko got hurt here, high ankle sprain. That's a 6-week rehab. He missed a period. You know, it was wonderful to watch.
Well, it's been a hell of a run for the Florida Panthers, even though it didn't end the way that you guys wanted to. You've been around for a minute, Paul. What has this year meant to you as a coach?
You get cynical when you get old, right? Pro sports sometimes makes that happen. The game is wonderful, it's beautiful, but the best part about sports, for all the things that you want your kids to learn when you put them in sports, for all the great character stories, we're all in that room this year from training camp on. We're casual with our words sometimes, but that group of guys loves each other every day. The way they treat each other completely destroyed any cynicism I might have about pro sports. It was absolutely, I don't even necessarily feel that I was a part of it, but it was a wonderful thing to be a spectator of and to see it every day. So it was, at the very least, profession affirming for me.
Well, thank you for this, and congratulations on what was a hell of a story and an incredible run by your team. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Also, Ekblad, Biz. Oh, sorry. He had, let's see, he broke his foot in the first round, 2 separate shoulder dislocations, a torn oblique, and a past concussion test. And he's not even going to make training camp next year. So another guy just laying everything on the line, man.
And like you kind of saw it because you felt his shifts were a little bit shorter. It was like the 30 seconds on the ice and then get off every time where, I mean, laboring that many things. And then I don't know if we could talk about it enough. Game 3, I think it's 99.9% sure was that Kolasar hit was which broke Matthew Tkachuk's sternum, right? I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. In that game, he set up the first goal, and they were down. They were down with 3 minutes to play, and he scored that goal in front of the net with a broken sternum. Like, so he came back after breaking it to make that type of impact. I think that this will also be remembered as Matthew Tkachuk's coming out party as well, as far as his run's concerned. And I expect that Florida team to be back, especially when they're healthy. And I think a few more pieces moved around, man, and they can continue to be a threat. And also another big aspect is probably reinstilled the confidence of Bobrovsky in exactly what they needed with his salary moving forward, right? Like now you know that this guy's capable of doing it. So if he can bounce back and continue to play the way that he did in playoffs, I think Florida's going to be in fine shape.
Yeah, he earned his $10 million for sure. But Whit, I want to ask you, like, did you think the fans were kind of quiet, I guess, in the third period? We knew what was going to happen. They're going to win. I mean, it seemed, I'm not tentative.
I don't even remember the third period.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone else, I mean, Biz, you were in the building.
No,
you were
it's because I think they were up 7-1 at some point, and then they scored 2 or 3 in a row quick. I think what did it end, 9-4?
9-3 final, yeah.
Or 9-3. So they scored 2 quick, so it just kind of killed the buzz a little bit. And yeah, I was there, but it was hard because by the end of the second period, like we talked about the fact that it was a drumming, it's like everybody had already had this huge celebration to end the second, basically knowing we're going to win the fucking Stanley Cup. So after that, yeah, I guess there was a little bit of a lull, man. But fuck, did they kick it back into gear?
Half the arena was up in the Hyatt Lounge with us.
Yeah,
and after the second intermission, there's bartenders standing on the bar just pouring shots on everybody. It was done. Like it was just the celebration had started. It was wild.
And also, that was the point where Murls and I were in this back corner table. You couldn't see the ice, and every I was so angry that I didn't have more money on it. It was like I was losing.
Yeah.
The whole time. Like every time they scored, I'm like, fuck off. What am I doing? This was
You're like, why didn't I take
the
the stone hat trick prop, for fuck's sakes? It's too good to be true.
Oh,
what a
well,
what a way to cap it off with him doing what he did in that game too, man.
Before
Especially
we
after
finish on
dealing
Florida, I got a good stat for you, especially
okay.
for you, Biz. It's a quirky little stat. I don't even know what it means, but all these teams beat the Maple Leafs in the playoffs and then lost in the Stanley Cup final. Boston 2019, Montreal in 2021, Tampa in 2022, and Florida in 2023. So when Florida got to the finals after beating the Leafs, they didn't stand a chance. So something to look forward to next year. Whoever beats the Leafs,
you're going to win.
Will go to the finals and lose. Happened 3 years in a row, and what's that? Four out of five, 4 to 6 years.
Yeah. Biz, I got another question for you. Bob ended up giving up 8 goals on 31 shots. Were you surprised that he stayed in the whole game? Do you think he told Maurice, I don't want to come out? I mean,
no, I just, you want to battle to the end with your teammates. And
all right.
Yeah, in no way, shape, or form was that Bob related. So keep him in there to allow him to experience that and cap off a great, successful season for himself, whatever that means.
I saw like on NHL Network, they kind of like showed highlights of the game with guys mic'd like behind the bench and all this stuff, and it was like 7-3 or 8-3, whatever, and like Maurice is like, we gotta get pucks in deep, and guys are probably like, dude, it's over.
Fire up the jet.
Shit. Boys, I think we should probably send it over to March right now. We'll talk about the teams, what they're going to do in the future a little bit after, but we got 2 interviews. We do got Zach Whitecloud coming up as well, so we're going to send it over to Marchessault right now. Enjoy.
Guys, this interview is brought to you by Chevy. Yes, it's Chevy time. The Chevy EV family, we've been a part of it for quite some time, and we got that big news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is officially Barstool and Spittin Chiclets' most valuable truck. The thing's a horse, yet you just plug it in because it's EV. We experienced it. We drove it. It's a game changer. I want one. I'm not going to lie. I really, really want one. It's available 400-mile range, GM estimated on a full charge. That's more than you get if you tug the thing full of gas. There's over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate. The large, enormous, 17-inch diagonal display screen, which just makes driving around using your navigation that much easier, all electric. It could tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing, 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with the WOW mode, and up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. That's a lot. 785 feet? I mean, are we kidding? This is electric, too. The Silverado. Head on over to Chevy.com to learn more. Chevy.com, learn more now. The all-electric Silverado. First one ever. Get involved.
All right, it's time to bring our first guest on. Despite his 4 years of terrific play for the Quebec Ramparts and Juniors, the skilled and gritty forward was not drafted. After 6 pro seasons with 4 organizations, he was selected by the Vegas Golden Knights after being exposed in the expansion draft. 6 years later, he played a huge role in leading the Vegas to its first ever Stanley Cup, and he won the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP. We're very happy to welcome Jonathan Marchessault to the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Congratulations, man. How's the party going?
Well, right now it's over, but was
for some guys.
yeah, for the married with kid guys.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Cotter's probably going at it still, but
you think Wild Bill's still going at it? Holy shit! What a speech!
Yeah, that was all time, huh?
Was that his wife or like a PR girl that was like, let's go?
It could have been his wife, but I mean, no, it was Kim. She works for Kiefer since the beginning, and she was like, normally she does it with like, she's like kind of like our bulldog a little bit with the fans when they come around and stuff. And now she was like, all right, this guy needs to get out of here.
I mean, I could see the online comments. Some people like, hey, he wasn't that bad. I thought he nailed the speech. But then I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. Like, she's been dealing with these drunk idiots the entire day, having to babysit them. And also in the same breath, trying to protect Wild Bill so it doesn't go fully off the rails. But I felt that he completely nailed that speech. That might be one of the better ones I've ever heard after winning a Stanley Cup.
You know what? I thought it was great too, because I always joke with him because he says my English is not good, and I say it's so much worse than mine, because the only thing he's better than me is he talks slowly, and he looked like so slow during his speech. But I honestly thought it was so funny. Like, we were together in the bus too, and we're drinking the whole day, and that was Wild Bill at his best for sure.
Oh,
so just
good.
an amazing like turnout, which is to no surprise. I mean, that was my first game, the clincher in Vegas. I was blown away. The outside crowd, but then you get on the strip, and a lot of people ask me, like, I got back home, they're like, well, what's the fan base like? I was like, they're the most loyal fans because it's their first ever like pro team, you know? And I could tell at the parade, it's like people truly love you guys. And granted, you just won the Stanley Cup, but from the very beginning, it's like this fan base has just taken you guys in and made it such a great place to play, huh?
I mean, it has to be one of the best places in the league to play for sure. I mean,
I said it was number one, Marchy, after I left. With the practice arena, like everything put into one, I think it is the best spot.
Well, you know what? I played in Tampa and in Florida, and those are unbelievable places to play in. But I honestly, Vegas is the whole package. Like, it's everything you need. Like the facilities, the fan base. Like, you're not getting roasted when you don't score for 5 games, like compared to other places. And like after the no tax, the weather, everything is just, it's unbelievable since year one. And the fan was great because the first year when we came in, there was like that tragedy that happened October 1st, and people like in Vegas, like people wanted to like show up at the same spot and like support each other, and the only place they could do it is at T-Mobile Arena, and they just kept their mind out of a little bit like of what happened before, and like a little bit helped the city to heal. And ever since then, it's been such a love story with them.
Now, before the parade, your owner Bill Foley, he filled up 4 planes of the guys and their wives and kids, and took us to Montana for a little field trip, basically. How'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, we do it. That's our, before every season, a lot of teams like do like little team bonding stuff. That's our team bonding. Like the first year we did a scavenger hunt that become like outrageous. But the other years we went to Montana. That's the ranch of like our owner, and we go there, and it's like it's a dream for any sports team or any guys. Honestly, you go there. There's a golf course. There's like ATVs. Is it ATVs? How do you call that?
ATVs.
STDs.
ATVs.
Wild Bill's laughing right now.
ATVs. There's fishing. There's like a bunch of stuff to do over there, and we play poker at night. Just the guys. So it's unbelievable. And we got there, and the first thing we did is everybody got on a golf course. Or, I mean, it was honestly, it was so much fun.
Well, it ties into ownership. You talked about when you first got there and everything was first class, the practice facilities. Ownership is incredible. And you talk about that Montana experience. That's his own personal ranch. It's got a golf course on it. You guys are doing scavenger hunts for gold bars. Like, this guy was all in at no expenses. I even heard that you guys were getting your cars detailed after practice every day, and it became this like superstition that you guys did all throughout playoffs.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So you're talking about Bill. Like, it starts with the owner. Like, if the owners wants to spend it and like be willing to like be all right, I want to give all this to the guys and make it like the best place to play in the league. Like, he did it perfectly. Like, he brings us in Montana on his private jets. Like, he has like 3, 4 but like they're so nice and they're so luxury, and we go there and so smooth, and he treats us really, really well. But yeah, like the car guys keep telling me, like, every time we get a car detail the day before a game, we're winning. And I think we were like not losing the first game every time our cars were getting clean. So at the end, they were coming almost like every time the ring. But yeah, it's been a while. Like, that's the little things. Like, it's not a big deal, but like we appreciate it so much that once or twice a week, the guy comes in a parking lot, cleans all the cars. And I mean, it's just the little things that makes it so much better.
I was going to ask about the superstition thing, and going back to the fact that the fans wouldn't bitch at you if you didn't score a goal for 5 games. Well, you started the playoffs not scoring 7 games in a row. Was there anything that you did superstition-wise in order to change that up when you finally got one? I think you got 2 Game 3 against the Oilers. Fuck, I mean, and then you end up going on
And
to
then
win
never
the Conn
look
Smythe.
back.
That's fucking pretty crazy start to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I was as cool as it can get at the start, but like at the same time, like our playoff run, it was always somebody that was stepping up at the right time. And like the first round, like I'm thinking of Stevie Stone and Howds, they were like all time, and Carly was hotter than burnt toast too in the first round. And honestly, it was just like everybody stepped up at different time, but was pretty good along the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, I was disappointed with my performance, but we were winning hockey games, so I didn't really care. And I was able to chip in at some point for sure.
Was there anything that you said or did differently in the locker room to be like, all right, boys, you guys have been carrying me long enough. I got you now. Like anything?
No,
nothing.
I don't necessarily think like that. Like I'm pretty vocal every day, every time of the day. But I mean, I didn't do anything different. It just I become hot at the right time, and it just kept on going.
But even though you hadn't scored, I remember the first 2 games of the Oilers series, I think you had 12 shots, and then the game you got 2, you had 7 shots. So it was like you had to know this is gonna change at some point. Now, having said that, through 7 games, if somebody said, "Hey, you're gonna win the Conn Smythe this year," you probably would have been like, "What?
Liar!"
Yeah, you would have been what Bill was on, or even Hag in the parade.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I want to ask, did the Misfits know that Butch was going to start you guys, or was that a complete surprise to you guys?
I was surprised, and honestly, like I was shocked. I was like, I didn't expect it. I thought it was a super like nice recognition from him. But it wasn't our best start. So after like, let's get our lines going. So we came back, and after like me and Smeater and Nick together to the locker room, and we're about to start the second period, and he looked at me, he's like, I don't think we're gonna start that one. I think they had a nose on shift the whole time, and we were like in our D zone. So, but it was like he thinks of little things like that, and honestly, it was something that's not going to go unnoticed.
So I got a question, and it kind of involves Barbashev, right? We've talked about him a lot, the hit against Gudis, so many different aspects. But when he came over, I mean, you'd played against him a lot, but did you have any idea how good he was offensively? Like seeing him with you and Ikes or just the entire team, like kind of blew me away offensively. You know, the physicality was always there, but what did you know going in, and what were you surprised about once you started playing with him?
Well, I know that like 2 years ago, he was like a honest, gritty player. But I know that last year he was actually like really elite. Like he had his best year ever. Did he not like 70 points or something?
I think he had
like
60 points a couple years ago.
Yeah. So like I knew he was like he had some offense in him, but like every guy's, it depends in each situation where they get put in different situation. And I think when he came in, like we needed somebody like be really good with me and Jack. And when we came in, it was like, we're going to get somebody for Jack and Marchy. And I mean, they went to get him. I was like, that's such a good pickup, because we need in the other years, we didn't have enough grit, I think, like in our lineup. And we went to get a guy like that can make plays. And he's like an overall all package kind of guy. Like he does it all. So the pickup was unbelievable, and the fact that he stepped up like in the playoff, he got some big goals, some big momentum hits. Like he was like, that's another guy that could have get the MVP, right? Like he was unbelievable every time he was out there. So yeah, we're definitely lucky to have him. Like I don't know how we're going to be able to get this guy back, because he's at that point he needs to get paid, right? He's a winner. He's shown that he's so good everywhere. Like he's going to get a ticket.
MVP for Barbashev. Did you have a ticket on that, RA? I'm sure you did. You had a ticket on like 60 guys, didn't you?
Just Aiden Hill. I had 40-1 on him.
Okay. That would have been a sneaky one too.
Yeah.
You talked about momentum changing hits. What were you guys saying in the locker room when he reverse hit Gudis? That was the craziest reverse hit I've ever seen in my life.
That's a hit. That's a question for Goody too, because I know the guy, and he's as tough as it can get. Like for hitting guys, like he doesn't get reverse hit. He puts guys through the third row every time he hits someone. So I mean, to see him go down like this, I was on the ice. oh my God, what's going on here? But
Point up to the GM box. You're like, thank you. Thank you.
But he never got hit like hard. He always expects them. He always ready for it. And that was one of the biggest hit I've seen. Like, I think the other hit I've seen that big was maybe Bufflin on Stoney a couple of years ago.
Oh, Jesus.
But Stoney's still recovering from that one. But I mean, he was, you know what? Like, he's an awesome hockey player, but goddamn, is he funny to hang around with. Like, I spend, like, he's always there with the boys, like, playing cards every night. Like, he is an unreal guy to have on your team.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Some very cool moments, obviously, during the celebration. One, I'm sure you've seen the picture of where everyone's huddled up and you're the guy in the middle and you're looking towards the sky. So just fitting for the Conn Smythe. And then right before, or right as you were announced the Conn Smythe winner, you had a comment to Jack Eichel. Like, obviously, him coming over meant so much to your game and you guys gelling the way that you did. Like, I thought from a defensive perspective and overall game, like, he just brought it to the next level this season. Like, just maybe talk about like what he meant to you personally and the team.
Yeah, you know what? Like, hockey-wise, he's a game changer, right? When he came in last year, you could see, I think with the surgery he had, I think it's something that's pretty tough to come back from. And he did good for when he was there last year. And it was hard because, like, everybody's like, oh, we didn't do the playoffs, but like our lineup was like mango.
Yeah, you had nobody healthy.
Yeah, everybody was hurt. We're trying to like, just hold the fort for a couple games and try to get some guys back, but it was too late and it was unfortunate. But the fact that he came back this year, and like, when you think of Jack Eichel, all right, maybe he's definitely up there in the best players in the league. But like, when you talk to point wise, like, but his other years he's probably close to 80, and this year he did like a point per game in the 60s. But like, that's maybe what we needed. Like, we needed somebody not to score 80 and be like minus at the end of the season. We need a guy like to be a first line center and carry us to the playoff and be our best player all year and all playoffs. And honestly, his game defensively was unbelievable. Like, he was playing against the best lines or the top two lines every night, and we were finishing in the pluses because of him. So his hockey game went to another level. He's so like mature and like good on the ice, and you can tell like the way he skates with the puck, like there's only a few guys in the league that can do that, right? So I mean, for my game, it was different because I was playing with Conn Smythe, and sometimes I used to have a little bit more of the puck on my stick, but like with Jack, he has it a lot of times. So I'm all about like just getting open for him and be ready to shoot it, and I think that's what he needed. But like, despite all the hockey chemistry that we built in the past few months, like, he is an unbelievable guy to hang out with. Like, what you think of with the ultimate beauty, that's what he is, you know? Like, he's like, I don't even care if I didn't have any connection with the guy like on the ice. Like, we sit next to each other on the card table and we're staring at Phil's forehead for 6 hours. And like,
He's talking shit the whole time.
Oh my God. And he gets so mad at us. Like, once every 2 fights, he would put his earphones and listen to some music. We're playing cards. We don't even know what he's saying. Like, he doesn't hear us too. But I mean, we're just like, we had so much fun together. And yeah, he's probably one of the funniest guy I've played with. He's like, reminds me of Jans. Like, you guys know Jans, right?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
Like, he was like one of the funniest guys I know in my life. But I mean, Jack is as dumb as I get for that. It's just so funny. We had an unbelievable group of guys this year. It was like the best year for sure.
That's what I sensed, is it was like true, like, good friends. And it's easy to say after you win it, but win or lose, it just seemed like a tight group. But you bring up Phil, and it's a pretty incredible story. I mean, he breaks the all-time Ironman record. He plays every game this year, and then he wasn't a part of the playoff team and what you guys did. But as hard as that was for him, how great was he around the room? I'm sure he was still very professional, and like, that must have been hard for him to watch have happen. But for you guys to see him stay positive must have meant a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, he has to be one of the best teammates I played with. Like, he is unbelievable. And you know what? Like, he's an Hall of Famer. Like, I don't like, the numbers are what they are, right? He is an unbelievable guy to play with. But like, even his I don't even mind what he does on the ice. Like that's remarkable already. Just the fact that he's a character. Like the way he speaks, the way he says things, like his expressions about everything. Like now everybody talks like him on the team. Like all the expressions, like we all talk the same way as him. And like he comes to us, at me and Jack most of the, and Stevie, like we're always around him, like chewing his ear a little bit, like fucking around with him. And like, you have to stop saying my lines here, eh? That's when I'm gone, you guys have to stop saying my lines. And it's just like all of those things like that. That is, I don't know. He was unbelievable. And yeah, he wasn't in the lineup the past few games, but he was the same. Like he was the same. And he's so funny. Like he comes in before game 5, the practice day, and he's like, if you fucking guys lose that game and I have to fucking fly to Florida and back, I'm going to be pissed. Like always stuff like that. It's just every day. Like we just sit around him and wait for him to say something stupid, and we look at each other all laughing. It was so much fun to just be around that guy this year.
Bruce Cassidy comes in, he's like, hold up here. I got to say something quickly before you go, Bruce. If you guys make me fly across the country, I'm going to fucking wring out your necks. All right, go ahead, Bruce.
It was funny. But like this guy's equipment is terrible. Like he has stuff that he had for 15 years. And it's like, we're like making fun of this. So we're kind of making fun a little bit of everything and like the whole character. And after like the coaches start after every video, say something about Phil. And he was not so happy about it, but it was just hilarious to see his reaction and stuff like that. So it was unbelievable.
Jonathan, we were just talking about what Jack brought to the ice. What did Butch, as a new coach, bring behind the bench for you guys?
Well, he came in and like it was like every coach are different. Like obviously Butch is a little bit more of a motherfucking behind the bench than the other ones we had.
Oh yeah. Every time the fucking camera pans to him, if you made the mistake, you motherfucker. Oh, geez. Kidnap your family.
Every start of the game, like the first shift, if somebody turns the puck over, he's losing. Like we didn't even do a shift yet. He's motherfucking the guys on the ice, and everybody's like, all right, let's relax. We're all okay here. Like we're just starting the game. But his message was like, one of his messages that got to me more was like, let's get to our game. Let's get to our game. So that's why he was probably mad at first, like because we're fucking around on the ice. But in the playoff, like you didn't hear it. Like he was not like mad about turnovers and stuff like that. He was more like neutral, and I think that helped us being really calm on the bench, and the belief on our group was there. Like we knew we were in every game. So but his message was like he had a couple of good messages. That was like, get to your game. Like we're a better team. Like you know what? Like he was adjusting every game something. So like he was playing chess, like he was always adjusting something. So I think that's something that made us better, definitely, and we needed in the past few years.
Watching Stone and just like, he's had such a long career. He's just such a great all-around player. We joke sometimes that he skates like Biz, but I mean, this year and as he's gone through these back surgeries, and then he's missing the regular season or the second half. Are you guys worried? Like, is he not gonna be able to come back? Was he open and adamant to you guys? Like, I'll be ready to go once playoffs starts. Like, what was his year like for you guys being around him, trying to battle through a second back surgery?
Yeah, I mean, that was so unfortunate, to be honest. Yeah. Like, you think you do a surgery and you're done with it, right? You just do recovery and you're okay to come back. Like, it was sad to see him, to be honest. Like, when he got injured this year, right after, he's like, all right, guys, he texted on the group, like, guys, like, I'm doing the same surgery again. My timeline should be coming back for first round. I'm gonna battle for you guys to come back first round, and I won't be around around the team as much because he doesn't come on the road and stuff. But like, I'm just so you know, I'm gonna battle back, and I'll be back for you guys for playoffs. So just good luck the rest of the year, and see you in playoffs, kind of thing. And man, he was out at the rink like for 4 or 5 hours sometimes, and just grinding in the gym, doing all his exercise. And he was like, you can tell he wanted to come back for us. And honestly, it's when that's your captain, that's your leader, that battles like that, it just goes down through the lineup. And I mean, that's that definitely gave us a little boost knowing that he was going to come back.
He looks like a different guy without the mustache, huh? I seen him just clean shaved. You can't even recognize
Yeah,
him.
he looks young for sure. But you would see this guy in practice, and you're like, oh my god, like he's not the flashiest guy, right? In practice, like shoots almost always from the between the blue and the top of the circle. Like doesn't score much in practice, but he gets in the game and just holy, he's a different player. He's an elite player in the league, and I mean he's unbelievable. And like I've played like with a lot of guys in my life, but like rarely is one guy makes everybody good on the ice. Like he could play with anyone in the league, he would somehow make that guy a special hockey player. And that's probably the best quality to have.
We haven't even talked about the revolving door in net yet, even throughout the season, but that in playoffs with Brossoit going down and then Hill coming in.
Yeah, I mean, well, this year, the main guy I thought was Logan for a bit. Thompson, he was great. He was playing great. He got a nasty injury. Trey came back too early, got it hurt again. And after Hill was doing good, but he was like not playing as often as Thompson, but he was really doing good too. And after Brossoit was in the AHL for the most part of the season, and after all our goalies were injured, so we went to get Quickie. And like we were at the end of the season, and we were like, who's our goalie here? Like, who's starting? And it honestly didn't matter to us because we believe that the team in front of them was really good, and any of them would have done the job. I think like everybody was great, and LB came in, and he was like by the end of the season, he was like unbelievable. So like, well, we got to start LB. He was the best goalie in the past 2-3 weeks. So they started him, and after he went down, and Hiller was coming back from his injury, I think he went down, and Silver Knight played one game. And after he comes down, he comes against the Oilers and started being like lights out. He did an unbelievable run. Like the save that he made along the series were unbelievable, giving us a chance every night. And you know what? Like sometimes we weren't really. One of our weaknesses as a team is our starts in the first period. Like we weren't really good most of the time, and he made some key save right off the bat. And our goalies were unbelievable, but Hiller's run at the end was sick for sure to be part of.
Personally for you, kind of away from just this season, like you finally play your first full season in the NHL, you get 30 goals, and then the expansion draft comes. Like, were you surprised that you were put up for that, not protected? What was your feelings going in? Did you want to get picked? Like, and was it disappointing to actually get a chance as a full-time player and light it up, and then boom, you're gone? Like, it's another organization. Like, what was that for you when it all went down 6-7 years ago?
Well, yeah, I was like disappointed. Like I know. Well, first of all, I didn't know they were gonna do 4-4. You know, like you can protect players different. I didn't see that coming. I thought they were gonna do like the regular like 7-3 or something. So yeah, I was disappointed. I thought I scored 30 goals. So I was like, when there's not a lot of the guys in the league, like maybe, I don't know how many guys in the league score 30 a year, maybe 20, 30, something like that. Right. So I thought that I was okay enough to be protected. So I was pretty happy of that. It was like my first offensive year. But I mean, I was disappointed. Like I love Florida. I love living there and the guys there. But I mean, it was just disappointing. But I mean, the world of hockey just keeps you honest every year. Like there's always a new, and like there's only guys, a certain amount of guys that they don't need. Like if they're not off here, they'll be fine still. They'll get contracts and they go forever. But I mean, for me, I was disappointed. So I was like, well, I got to do it again. And I go to Vegas, and I wanted to show myself in the top 6 in the NHL. I wanted to be there at some point. So I was like, well, that's a good opportunity. Like, we'll have a shit team. We'll win 10 games all year, and I'll be able to get some ice time. So
that was your thought process?
I was like, this team is awful.
I feel better now because they were using my voice saying you were going to be the doormats of the league before the game.
Yeah. Well, you're an idiot.
But I mean, I thought the same. I was like, we have no one. Like we have a guy coming from Russia. Is supposed to be our best player. Never played a game in the NHL. Shipashov. So I was like, oh boy, like we're gonna be in one. But we ended up just like hardworking everybody and like having a 4-line mentality a little bit, and it brought us to the final. So we did unbelievable that year. And but after, it was definitely disappointing at the time. But after a few weeks and during the season, I was super happy in Vegas. So everything kind of went away.
Marchy, were you ever at all nervous through that 6 years? Because you were original misfit and you were one of the pieces they decided to stick with. Throughout the entire process, did you feel like they were communicating that to you, like, hey, you're one of our guys and we're trying to add these pieces? Or were you left in the dark? Because they did make some pretty significant moves that were like, it just made it feel like maybe they weren't as loyal as I would have expected. Like the Flower situation, like some of the assets.
Well, Flower situation, that's one of those things that like, there's insiders that know shit that I don't even know how they do. Like we had one time, like Oscar Lindbergh got traded and he was still on the ice, and they showed up at the TV, but like the GMs were like, how did they show up at the TV before? It wasn't even done. It wasn't even a done deal. Like it was like
they're paying the fax machine guy at the NHL office.
Yeah, probably. There's something behind that. But I mean, I thought they were pretty loyal. But like like you said, every year we were going to get like the biggest fish out every single year. So like, yes, I was there from the beginning, but my name was thrown out there as much as anyone else, right? Like it was like we're gonna do not anything, but we're gonna do what we have to do to get that specific player. And yeah, it was like I said, like the NHL keeps you honest. Whatever you've done before, you're always on a trade block, and that's just the way it is. But like the best stall in the NHL is a stall in the NHL. So like I always say, I'm happy to play here, but I mean, if you're in the NHL, you should get back a little bit of where you're from and think of what you've been through. And you're playing in the NHL, so just shut up. And
that was definitely my approach.
Yeah,
I wouldn't shut up at the bar, but I would shut up in the room. All right, you were loving that line. You were laughing when he said the best stall in the NHL is a stall in the NHL. You love that.
Absolutely.
Eh?
That's a great line. Absolutely.
I mean, I think so. Like, I don't know, like that's the way I think. But it's always getting thrown out there, and that's just the way it is. But like one time I remember I was at World Championship that second year, and there was a lot of rumors of me getting traded. And Kelly called me, and he's like, Marchy, just so you know, you're not in any rumors this year. You're safe, and don't worry about it, and just enjoy your summer. So that one time,
that's huge.
I really appreciate it, and like you can sleep a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, obviously I love it here, and that's my home for my family. But I mean, every contract comes to terms, and that's just the way the business goes.
Shows the difference between the Conn Smythe winner and myself, because Ray Sharo told me I'm not trading you, and 4 days later I got dealt.
Wow.
Hey, nobody would even trade for me, so I was all right.
Like I said, it keeps you honest, huh?
Keeps you honest.
One of the things, well, first of all, you're unreal at describing teammates, and you made the point of every time there was a big fish to go get, they went and got it. They went and got Stone. That was huge. They got Eichel, and another guy was Petro, who he's an A1. He's the guy. He's not going to be intimidated by the opposition. You saw it in the Edmonton series, which I would imagine was probably your guys' toughest series. You see him come in with a tomahawk. He is just, he's an alpha male. Is he not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what? Like, he is, like, now that he won and all the point production per game and his career and all that, he has to be up there, right? For like one of the greatest.
He's Hall of Fame.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, you gotta think he's up there, and to be playing with a guy like that, like, yeah, he's good offensively, yeah, but like the things that he does defensively, cut plays and all of that, like, he's unbelievable. Like, he's a A1, and he's been great since he came in, and he's like such a good leader and like just an awesome guy to hang around, just a good person. He definitely has his attention to stuff sometimes. Like, if he sees a squirrel, like, he'll go run at it. Like, seriously, he's out for lunch sometimes, but he's so fun to hang out with. And honestly, his slash was as crazy as it can get. Like that was, he touched the moon and came down on lead. Whoa.
I think he hit Gretzky's banner.
Yeah, seriously. And Phil was like, that's like, after his reaction, was like, that was dirty, eh? It was just so funny to see. And yeah, I mean, he got a suspension for it, and he owned up to it and came back strong the next game.
You guys must have been nervous though, because that was a very pivotal point in that series. And to go back to my question, was that the hardest matchup you think you guys faced?
Oh, it has to be the hardest matchup you had. Like they were, like you had 2-goal lead and you were never safe. Like that was just an elite team. Like, but the thing is, we had to be disciplined.
Oh, you're telling me.
Never seen anything like it. So we had to be disciplined and not get involved in this. And even 4-on-4 was not good for our team. So that was a big factor. And the 5-on-5 game, we know we were better than them. So that's where we got them kind of a little bit. But that was the toughest series for sure. But Petro being suspended game 5, we were lucky that Murls got suspended at the same time, because that was a rule that was like written white on black, right? It was like really, you can't go around it.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
Well, a rule's a rule. Like, I don't know. I don't make it.
I got a 10-game sussy for that one time, and then they reduced it to 3, and I ended up losing $11,000, Marchy.
But they still scratched him the next 7, so he missed 10 in a row anyways.
I had one in junior too. I had a 7-game. I crossed somebody right in between the teeth and the nose.
Oh,
7
God.
games.
Now they got a cleft lip and they're ugly and they can't even get laid in their hometown. And here you are, the fucking Conn Smythe winner with millions in your bank, eh? Sometimes guys really get the raw end of the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But hey, but saying that, I went on before the series and I picked you guys to win that one. And I said, because you were the most disciplined team in the league, you guys must have taken 50 fucking minors in the first 4 games. You had me sweating. I looked like an idiot.
Yeah, like, well, that one game that we got spanked, I don't know how much we lost, but we had like, I don't know, they scored every power play chance they had. So
game
like,
2, I think.
Like we're doing stupid things too. But coming back to Petro, something like, I don't know what Petro did in the league, but this guy was getting abused. Like after whistle, hitting, like
because I said, Marchie, he's dirtier than people think though. Like he's kind of a prick on the ice. Would you not say?
Yeah, like
he's a modern day pronger.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like he is not like crazy dirty. There's more dirty guys out there that I've seen, but like he is it. Yeah, he's a little asshole out there for sure. But I don't know, like he was like even against Tkachuk, like Tkachuk had a broken sternum, and Petro was somehow like in like a lobster in a cage, like locked there at the end of game 4. I was like,
yeah,
Petro, just leash on him, and he was, I don't know, it was just he's definitely a funny guy to have around.
I think it's partly because the other team is like, if we go after him and get him to balk, we're in a good spot. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Frustration. I went on a PTO to St. Louis's camp when he was still there. We would do one-on-one drills. I couldn't even get across the red line because you mentioned how good he is at breaking up plays and how quick he is to close and get stick on puck. I was like, give this guy $12 million, man. I can't even do anything around him. Now, I mind you, that's me, but he was doing it to everybody.
Yeah, no, his stick. Like we talked about Stoney's stick, but like Petro is as good as he can get in the NHL, and is he not one of the best in takeaways and defensemen?
Yeah, his metrics were crazy. Even in playoffs, I think he was like first in every category other than one.
Yeah, no, he was awesome for us, and he's been a big factor since he's here, and definitely happy for his Hall of Fame career.
Marchie, like I have 2 kids, and they weren't around when I was playing pro hockey, and I got to see right when you guys won. I saw you had 4 kids on the ice. It looked like your oldest was a boy, like around 8 or 9. I'm not sure, but how cool is that, man? Like, you know, that they're on the ice to get to experience, especially the oldest, who's probably into hockey or at least knows what's going on. Like, that must have meant the world.
Yeah, like he grew a lot. Like in the past week, I would say he saw me win the Stanley Cup, and after he saw me shotgun barrels at the parade, so he definitely grew a lot in the past few weeks. But I mean that's like everybody has a different motivation. And like me, like my kids is my motivation, and my wife, like my family is my motivation. And like, you know, I just want to do so much better for them to have a better life. And that's what motivates me. And that's the ultimate, you know, like not everybody can say in their life that they achieved their dream. And you know what? That's what I told them on the ice. It's one of the things that I wish for you is one day I want you to achieve your dreams. And whatever it is, I just want you to know that I achieved mine and I'm an accomplished person right now. And yeah, I'll cherish those moments forever.
That gives me the chills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great. Oh my God.
Marchy, I know you had buddies win the Stanley Cup in, I think, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Did that also motivate you in some way? Because you got 4 or 5 friends with Stanley Cups and you hadn't got one yet?
Yeah, well, everybody was winning it around me, so I was like, fuck, it would be nice to come at some point, right? Like, I'm all going at their parties. I'm getting the drunkest guy out there, but I mean, yeah, I went to Alex Chiasson when he was in Wash. He's my best buddy since we're like 12 years old. After David Perron, Yanni Gourde, everybody was winning it, so I was like, maybe one, you know. But I was always like, I'm not the jealous type of guy. I'm always like so happy for the success of anyone, really. So I was always happy for their success and getting their dream accomplished. And I was like, you know what? Maybe one day it will be my turn. I guess this year it is.
You have a lot of hockey left, but like, do you think with what's happened in you guys like becoming a home base in Vegas, do you think this is a place you could see yourself living forever in the winters? I mean, granted, you probably go home in the summer, but
yeah,
is it too hard to say now?
Yeah, like I have one more year on my deal, right? So I hockey, it is what it is, and it keeps you honest. But I mean, I would love to be in Vegas for sure and re-sign here. I always said to my wife, if I re-sign here, I would see herself like keep going here and like living here for sure. Well, I mean, we'll see. I think that decision is going to be made in the next year or so.
I don't think we really asked you much, I guess, enough about the parade. Like, who are the drunkest guys? Like what were some of the funny things happening behind the scenes?
Our bus was awesome. I was with Riley and Carly. So obviously, Riley gets it down pretty easily, and Carly was Wild Bill at his best too there, and that was the work. That was a work of art. Like honestly, it was just like we were drinking all day, having a great time. Like it was awesome. That was almost as good part as the day that we won and the party after the cup. It was so much fun. All the fans, like when you think about it, they closed the strip for us.
That's unreal.
Like that's what made the best street in the world, and now they closed it for us. So everybody was like hammered and having a great time. And I mean, with Wild Bill's speech, it was great. But like the fact that he fell down the stairs and he's like one of the first ones to come out, that was as funny as the speech for me.
I saw that clip too. Yeah, I missed it.
It seems like he's going down the slide or something with his arms up. It was so funny. But I mean, we had so much fun, and that's going to be engraved in my memories forever.
Jack Eichel's going to be in the Thunder Down Under with the striptease he was doing out there for the fans. He better put some sunscreen on though. That guy was like bright. He was so white.
Yeah, I mean, Jack is like he wears it in his face, right? When he's drunk, like he hits that like face that's just, holy shit, you look awful right now. Like he knows how to party. And he said something yesterday. I don't know. He said that like a lot of people like work all their life for the cup. I partied all my life to be ready to party for after the cup or something like that. Like it was along those lines, and I was like, he is unbelievable. He's out every night just doing the best version of himself. And I mean, he's just such a fun guy to hang out with. He's unbelievable, to be honest.
The last one I had, I know we've kept you a long time, so appreciate your time, was like it felt like Florida was extremely banged up. I mean, you saw the 4 guys come out with a laundry list of injuries. It seemed like you guys were able to stay pretty healthy, and even at the end, like, did you guys have anyone come out with major injuries? I think Eichel said
Well,
that you guys could have played another round if that was the case.
Honestly, like I was done after. I'm like, everybody's healthy. Everybody's doing like the past 2 years, everybody like some guys had broken foot, like dislocated shoulder, broken fingers. It never stopped. Like it just kept going every game. This year we missed a little bit Will Carrier in the first few games and he came back. But after we were healthy, the Naber got crushed a little bit for like 1 or 2 games. But except that, everybody was in. Like everybody was healthy. We could have kept going for sure. Like I don't know. Like it was one of those things. Like we were having like Phil Kessel in the stands. Like we were so healthy. And I think to win it, you got to be a little bit lucky for that. You need everybody to be healthy. You need to get some puck luck. You need good bounces at the right time. Like Hillsy's stick save, like that stick save happened to us on the other side with Olby like 5-6 years ago. So I was like, and that pivoted the whole series for us. I was like, this is the luck that we needed, and we're gonna win this. We just need to execute here. And but yeah, everybody was pretty healthy.
I seen a couple quotes from teammates, Marchy. Like they talked about your poise, like ability to stay calm in high pressure situations. Is that something that always was innate with you, or come over time as the more you played?
It definitely came over time. The more I got comfortable in the league, honestly, like it just came with time. I just want to be a guy that like you can rely on in moments that you need and to step up at the right time. And I remember in the first round, my GM came to see me, and he's like, he knew I didn't do much, and he's like, you know what, Marchy, like you scored such big goals for us for that organization that I'm not even worried about you really right now. And so just keep going and play the right way, play winning hockey. So that gave me a lot of confidence for sure, and it helped out for the process of the past few rounds.
Is there like a ripple effect to your line mates or your teammates when they see you like calm them a little down a little bit?
You know, I was talking to Phil like right before my first goal in the playoff. I think it was game 3. I scored 2 in the first period, and before that, I was like, man, it's been 7 games I didn't score. I have like 2 or 3 assists. And I was like, Phil, I don't know what's happening. I don't feel like I'm playing bad right now, you know, like, so he's like, actually, I thought you were playing really good. Just keep going, you know, like goal scorers, you go through stretches that you just don't score for like certain amount of games. And after you'll like pile on 6 and 6, you know, like, and it just, you're right back at where you want to be. And so I remember he told me that. And after the game, he came and see me in his little face. He's like, I fucking told you, Marchy, I told you. Like, it's just so funny. But I mean, like, Phil is awesome. Like, he's so fun to hang around. Like, I remember that for the first few weeks we're together. We're in the first trip in Canada. Like, we're Ottawa, Montreal, all those areas, Toronto. And we, like, the boys, like, we all came together that trip. Like, we were out, like, every night. Like, we had a few days in Toronto. We went back to back. Like, it was, like, we were always grabbing beers, all the boys together. The trainers would come. Like, we were tight right off the bat. And before a game, like, to add up to that, the story that we were tight that trip is me and Phil were, after the video meeting before the game in Ottawa, me and Phil were just fucking around in the, like, I was saying, like, Phil, I would whoop your ass. And like, that little boy, you wouldn't even be able to touch me. Like, we're fucking around. And I'm like, I fake punch him, but I go right next to his face, but kind of close. And he's like, hey, that almost touched me, eh? I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do about it, Phil? So we come together, we grab each other on the shoulders, and we fake headbutt at the same time.
No.
Like, our head goes, I start leaking from the forehead. Like, I'm cut, I'm split open, I'm needing stitches. And it was wet on the floor. Phil slides, almost pops his groin, and he's on the floor, and he's on his Ironman streak, right? So I think he's at 996 at that time. So I'm like, he's about to get 1,000 straight. So I'm holding my blood like this, and I have my hands everywhere, and Phil's on the floor, like, almost like, he was like, man, you shook me here. Oh my God, my head. And it was like, he looked like he had a little mosquito bite on top of his eyebrow or something. But either way, he he was on the floor, and I was late for warm up. I went to get stitches, right in the middle between my eyebrows, and Phil had nothing. But he was shook. And man, was that moment, like everybody was dying laughing, coming to see me when I was getting stitches before the game. And that moment was like, I don't know, like that trip, like kind of got our team really bounding, and it was just so funny.
That is fucking unbelievable. He's got a forehead like a drive-in movie theater, eh?
Oh my God, it was the hardest thing ever.
Yeah. He looks like the doctor from Back to the Future. What's his name, RA? He's got the same haircut.
Brown.
Yeah, he's got the same haircut as
and
him.
it's long, yeah.
Yeah,
It's long, yeah.
It's getting there.
I can't say shit about
yeah.
a big forehead. I gotta take myself out of this conversation.
Marchy, this has been fucking awesome, man. And like, we're so grateful for your time, but just like the stories, the journey, like your own personal growth through the game, man. We obviously congratulate you, and it's been well earned, my friend. And that quote about your family that's all time, brother.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, guys. And yeah, it was awesome, and you guys are awesome to listen at too. So I'm happy for your guys' success too.
Who's got the worst hot takes of the three of us? Who's got the worst takes?
What's the takes like?
Well, what do you say? If you listen to the show a little bit, you know that we sometimes are very opinionated and have bad takes.
Probably the guy who said his team was going to suck, and then they went to the finals, being me. Although now that you said you thought you'd suck too, I feel better.
You know what? Like, I gotta say, you're really a fan of the Maple Leafs.
It's a fucking joke,
Fuck you.
Joke.
They're coming for that title. I would love to see you guys against them in the finals.
I would like to see it, but I it's hard for me to see it. Like,
exactly.
I just don't know. They're always like they get past the first round, and after they lose in 5 against a team that I think they were hot at the right time, obviously. But I mean, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to see. There's a lot of things that needs to change if they want to win.
That's because you live on planet. You live on Earth. You live on Earth, and him and the rest of the Maple Leaf fans, they live on another planet in another galaxy.
Planet Zoltan.
Well, congrats again, dude. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable story personally and as a team. It was fun to watch, so thank you. That interview is brought to you by Chevy. Yes, it's Chevy time. The Chevy EV family, we've been a part of it for quite some time, and we got that big news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is officially Barstool and Spittin Chiclets' most valuable truck. The thing's a horse, yet you just plug it in because it's EV. We experienced it. We drove it. It's a game changer. I want one. I'm not going to lie. I really, really want one. It's available 400-mile range, GM estimated on a full charge. That's more than you'd get if you tugged the thing full of gas. There's over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate. The large, enormous, I'll say, 17-inch diagonal display screen, which just makes driving around using your navigation that much easier, all electric. It could tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing, 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with the WOW mode, and up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. That's a lot. 785 feet? I mean, are we kidding? This is electric, too. The Silverado. Head on over to Chevy.com to learn more. Chevy.com, learn more now. The all-electric Silverado. First one ever. Get involved.
Big thanks to Marchy for coming on us, man. I know those guys got a real busy schedule right now. And wow, what a funny bastard he is, huh, man? I was cracking up the whole time. Plus, with the accent, it's even 10% funnier.
Yeah, and I'm very happy for him just because of what he's went through his entire career. So it's cool to see stories like that. You know, every Stanley Cup winning team has guys who've battled through a lot, and to not be drafted and then put on the expansion draft after 30 goals, it's like you're happy for people to finally kind of live out their dreams and battle a long way to get there. So we appreciate him coming on.
Yeah, and in the series, Vegas outscored him 26-12, comes to 5.2 goals a game versus 2.4 goals per game. But Florida special teams, man, I want to go to you again, Biz. Was the special teams essentially the difference in the series, or was it just a matter of one team just being way better than the other? Because, I mean, what do we got? Florida 0 for 14.
Just 5-on-5, pure domination, and like some of the numbers for Vegas, like shooting percentage 5-on-5, like everything was just crazy. They were off the charts. As far as special teams, it just really killed Florida. No power play goals the entire series. PK was rubbish. The first 3 games, they gave up 2 goals each game. So but the thing is they were an undisciplined team all season, and they just were never good at penalty kills, so that you figure they would catch up to be smarter about how they take penalties. And yeah, I would say that in this series, it put that stamp of approval. But I think that even if special teams were tied, I still think Vegas is coming out alive based on their 5-on-5 play. So it wasn't pretty from both, but definitely not the only reason.
Yeah, Florida
Right?
0 for 14.
Does that make sense to you, Whit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was utter domination everywhere.
Not only 0 for 14, but outscored 7-1 on special teams. That's pretty putrid. Jack Eichel, he led the team with 26 points. The third most points by a player in his first playoffs with a team. Mark Recchi ahead of him with 34. Eric Stahl, so got himself
It's like
pretty good list.
Buffalo fans for a long time have given me a hard time in terms of like, oh, your boy, you're talking about your boy, he fucking sucks here. We want to get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. It's like everyone knows kind of how that entire thing went down. But it's hard not to respect and be happy for a guy to like be that high of a pick, go through a lot of downtime in Buffalo, finally get his chance to get into the playoffs. And what does he do? He leads the playoffs in scoring and wins the Stanley Cup. It's like kind of a fairy tale story in terms of a guy who was just waiting and hoping to play these big games and gets the chance and just takes full advantage. I mean, like, obviously he's on an amazing team, but I think that to only score 6 goals, now granted he had all those assists, it was more for me how he's playing defensively. And I think that entire team like buys into that. That's why they're so good. Cassidy's all about that. You got to be a two-way player. But I noticed a lot of great defensive play from Eichel. It was like, all right, if I'm not going to be scoring much goals-wise, like I'm just going to do it all over the ice. I'm going to break out the puck well. I'm going to have my guy in the in my D zone. It was like him truly coming together as an all-around player. And it's exactly what Vegas had in mind when they made that huge deal. So very happy for him, and he ate a lot of shit for quite a while, and he kind of comes out on top.
Yeah, and I guess the one criticism they try to throw at him was, he's not that guy, and in fact he is, right? So that's kind of the finale there. So what a run by him, and yeah, I would say that there was quite a few Buffalo fans online giving him a hard time on the way out of town. So he gets the last laugh.
I would say he grew up a lot too in the last couple of years. Just going to that organization, how things are run there. That culture in Buffalo was bad for so many years. We saw it's changed now, new coach, but you go to that locker room now with Pietrangelo, Stone, all the misfits, and Cassidy running it now. I think it changed him, and he realized it and benefit him for like, okay, I got to play this way. I got to be this committed. I have to be this focused, we all know how good he is. The guy skates probably second best to McDavid in the whole league, and he's big, and he got it all. So he really stepped up, and I think he's grown a lot in Vegas.
I thought that quote by somebody released a quote about Patrice Bergeron when they said that Vegas was going to go hire Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah.
Is that a factual quote?
Yeah, George McPhee said that Kelly McCrimmon asked Mark Stone to call Patrice Bergeron before they hired Cassidy. Bergeron told Stone, if Vegas hired Bruce, they'll win the Stanley Cup next year. And lo and behold.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I'm like, well, like, would you not agree that part of it was maybe that he was a little too hard on the guys and they maybe kind of started not listening to him as much?
There's no doubt. And I don't think Krejci would have been back had Cassidy been back. And like that's why there's a lot of Bruins fans like, oh, I wish we could get coaches like that. But it wasn't going to happen in Boston with him there. Interestingly enough, I did get a kick out of Marchessault telling us, like, yeah, he's a motherfucker. So it's like they had an amazing team. They won the cup. Now let's see in 2 to 3 years when guys like that sometimes maybe their message wears a little thin. But in the end, it was the perfect hire for that group who Marchy even said, like, we kind of needed that a little bit.
Well, part of in the interview, too, though, he said that he didn't really get too bad during playoffs. It seems like he also made some adjustments, which was nice to hear. But holy shit, you never heard that quote, before just now?
Oh,
isn't that fucking wild? So does that tell you that means he would have rather have kept him?
I think Bergeron's the type of guy that would never really badmouth anyone he's ever had coach him or played with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's only going to build people up. Now, you can do that without saying you're going to win the Stanley Cup if you hire him. But I also think that Bergeron's a player that probably doesn't see a lot of the bad sides of coaches that a lot of players do see. Like, no one's saying shit to him, so it's hard. I remember like complaining. I remember complaining to like Crosby or Getzlaff about coaches. They're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." Like, they just tell you how great you are. Like, it's different for those guys. They don't really see all the stuff that the plugs deal with from certain hard asses.
And I think Bergeron understood what was going on in Vegas. I know I heard about it from all sorts of people that it was like the inmates were running the asylum out there, that they needed a guy to come in and be strict on them and be hard on them. So Bergeron, knowing how good they were, but they were playing too loose, he knew Bruce was the guy for the job maybe.
Yeah.
It's still crazy looking back as we move on to whatever, the future of this team or the future of the two teams. But Vegas won the West, and they ran through to win the Cup. And I don't think anyone picked them before the playoffs to win the Stanley Cup. And the goaltending was a question mark, but like looking back, it's like, what the hell was everyone missing?
Doesn't it happen every year where we build up one conference and they end up being a dud? No, I said a conference, not a team.
Well, you know what? In a sense, we were kind of right, because I think we said the East is going to beat the shit out of themselves. They're going to be so banged up when they get to the finals, and it kind of happened.
Wow, we're geniuses. There you go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Biz, you'll like this stat. 18 out of the 24 Vegas Gold Knights who played in the playoffs are Canadian. And Army will love this one if he was with us. 2/3 of their full 36-man roster played in the WHL. 36 guys in the roster. 2/3 of them played in the WHL. Pretty interesting little
man's
stat.
hockey.
Love their beers. Throw both ways.
Throw me a chew. While we're talking about predictions in Army, I'll let you guys know that me and him both had the best records for series winners through our whole playoffs.
I'll clap to that. Good job, Murls.
I'm going to give myself the tiebreaker for picking Vegas in 5. So I'm taking the Chiclets crown, self-announced or
you
pronounced,
couldn't
whatever
say
you
it
want.
by the end of the series, but you
Who
did.
finished the worst?
Vegas in 5. Vegas in 5.
Who finished the worst?
Wow. All right. Quick math. Well, Biz and Whit, you were both last, and you both had Florida in 6.
There you
So
go, the
you guys
experts.
can share it.
We picked Florida. I picked Florida to win the Cup.
Yeah.
Holy
in the last
shit.
round.
What is wrong
funny.
with me?
I know we talked about the clip of Bruce Cassidy starting the Misfits when we had Marchy on a few minutes ago, but did you notice before he did it, he actually apologized to William Carrier, who's the 6th Misfit. Obviously, he could only start 5 of them. He gave him a little apology right before he called it off. It was kind of like subtle.
The way that game went, they could have started the 6th of them and just
They
pulled
could have
the hill.
started RA. They would have won.
Start the little fucking rascals. Also, Kelly McCrimmon, he's going to join his older brother, the late Brad McCrimmon, and have his name engraved on the cup as well. Brad won the Stanley Cup back in 1989 when he was a defenseman for Calgary, and of course was tragically killed in a locomotive Yaroslavl plane crash like 12 years ago. So,
I
nice
saw
little,
a clip of Elliot Friedman interviewing him on the ice after, and he brought that up, and I think he got a little emotional in talking about how much it meant to his family, and Brad's son was there celebrating with him, and such a tragic ending to his lives. All the guys who were a part of that locomotive team, I'll never forget. I was in Sean Horkoff's kitchen living with him in camp, and just a horrible, horrible tragedy. And for Kelly McCrimmon, who, what an amazing job that guy's done. Him, George McPhee, and the owner, just like truly have built like an amazing team out there. So for him to get his name on the cup with his brother, that's an awesome story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually met Brad's son at one of the clubs that night. He was that nice kid, Liam. He came up and said hello. He's listening to the show, so yeah, it was a nice little gesture there. Anybody surprised by the order in which the cup went out? Stone had it first, and then it went to the Misfits. I know people are kind of like belly aching about whatever. Did you anything surprise you? Or it was kind of routine or what?
Who cares? No, people belly aching are idiots. Nobody gives a fuck. They all just won the cup.
Well,
dude.
and then they were belly aching when Kevin Bieksa and crew were practicing. Like, well, do you want them on the same page or not?
Oh, never happened. Never happened. Juice will knock one of us out if we say that.
I commend him for being prepared. It's a Niagara Regional thing. We're on top of our shit. I think during the finals, him and Strombo had a joke about it on Sportsnet and had a good laugh about the rumor of practicing the cup raising when they were up on Boston.
Chara's first experience on a podcast. He's probably like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, I just always heard that happen. People are coming at me.
Another emotional thing, Alex Pietrangelo, he had a nice embrace with his 4-year-old daughter, Evelyn. she got sick early in the year with encephalitis, which is a pretty nasty thing. And he took, I think it was 9 or 10 games off, and the team was like, go ahead. He said, I can't play. I'm not going to play. And fortunately, she got some treatment and she got better. So it was like another heartwarming thing to see. It was pretty nice there. So let's see. We get some thank yous as well. We got to thank Pink Whitney, of course, Big Deal Brew, Beer House by T-Mobile. If you're out there, if you have any other names we should be thanking.
Tin Roof in Fort Lauderdale, who
Once
hosted
again.
us and then of course the Elbow Room as well.
The Murls room. Shit. So, all right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Front Door. We all have that long, nagging home to-do list that we keep putting off. It's full of annoying things that need to be fixed. Dripping dishwasher, hole in the drywall, or the dryer not drying. Wouldn't it feel great to get it all done? Now you can, and it's easier than ever. Introducing Front Door, the all-new one-stop home repair and maintenance app. Front Door lets you video chat with experts in real time so you can diagnose the problem faster, sometimes fix it yourself on the video chat, or Front Door will send you a list of vetted and trusted pros to come out and help you solve the problem. I can't fix anything. I couldn't fix a toothbrush. I use Front Door. They come over, they get it done, they hook it up. Not everybody's a Mr. Fix It. I'm definitely not. So I'm all over Front Door. And with the Front Door membership, it's easy to cross things off your home to-do list and enjoy that feeling of done. Download the app now and get a free video chat. Off-season. I'll go to you, Murls. What's Vegas going to do in the off-season? They got about 3.4 in cap space. The whole defense is coming back intact. UFA forwards, Barbashev, Kessel, and Beluga. UFA goalies, Brossoit, Hill, and Quick. Leonard and Thompson are the only goalies signed for next season. I don't know. You think they're going to re-sign Hill, or he's going to go walking?
Ooh. I think he's going to get too much money. They won't be able to keep him. How do you not give that guy the big money? One of these teams, like Toronto, always needs a goalie, although they won't be able to afford him either. But that guy just made himself a lot of money. And you look back at him, and you think he was probably so close to going to Europe, never to be heard from again. And now all of a sudden he's Stanley Cup champion, and he's going to demand the same kind of money like Kemper got last year, even though he wasn't really the reason.
You think he can get a 5x5?
Why not?
Oh, I think no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think no doubt.
I was saying 4x4 because I don't think he's ever played a full regular season, so it's very difficult to assess it to Kemper's money.
There's going to be one team out there, man. And then they start bidding against each other. It's like,
all right.
Maybe if it's a 4-year deal, I think his AAV is going to be 5. The question now, though, this fucking animal Barbashev. And unfortunately, there's no way. I don't see a way he can be back in Vegas. Like, I think he is the number 1 free agent.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm not like reaching there too much based on your reaction, but if you look at how this guy plays and then in the playoffs, so it's like, all right, we're signing him, and he had the 1 year with 60 points in St. Louis, and you saw how good he is playing on the top line, but then it's like, we're signing this guy for the playoffs where he's fucking indestructible. I don't know if there's a more playoff style player out there. If you're trying to win a Stanley Cup with a heavy game, I don't know what he's gonna get. I mean, would he get 8 years?
Well, not there. So they would have. I don't know if they
he could get traded though.
Trade and sign. I would say $6 million would be a fair number for Barbashev a year.
Coming off a deal where he's making 2.5.
That's too shabby.
That's why I said I think he made between 20 and 25 million extra from this run.
And there's not a lot of guys out there this year. Most of the big guys are tied up. I'd say another guy that would be close to him would be Tyler Bertuzzi. Would be one that'd be comparable to him. Those would maybe be my top 2 forwards I'm going after. Most of the other guys I see here are a little older or not nearly as skilled as them. Maybe Michael Bunting's a guy kind of like them, plays a little edge.
I like Barbashev over Bunting all day long. I don't think that. Yeah, I mean,
and the thing is though, like I a lot of times, like a guy who's UFA, say the market's weak. I mean, you might get an enormous deal from a team who's going to be probably kind of bad for a little bit, but I feel like the teams that are going to go after Barbashev, they're all going to be Stanley Cup aspirations teams, right? Because like this is the guy we need to get there. Maybe it's a team that thinks in 2 years they can compete, but it's not like he's going to have to sign with some shitbag team. Like
what about Chicago? Get him playing with Bedard on the top line.
And they have a ton of money.
Modern day protection.
Well, for
not
him
exactly
too,
a
like
scrapper, but
you have 2 cups now, so almost you're like, just I'll go wherever gives me the most money. You know, if that's what you're looking for. And if Bedard's this good, Chicago probably could be pretty good in 2-3 years. That's not a bad call.
I would like to see him with somebody like the Devils. I feel like the Devils need him more than they need Timo Meier. Don't give Timo Meier all that big money. You bring in a guy with a little grit. You got enough scoring now. You just signed Brett. You got Hughes. You got enough little skill guys. You need a little grit.
Or get them both. Ooh. I don't know if they can afford it. We don't have our insider Pasha. He's probably still at the nightclubs in Miami.
All right. And as for Florida, wonder what they're going to do this offseason. Biz, right now they got a little over $10 million in cap room. They have $73 million spent on 16 guys right now. Just one goalie, Bobrovsky. Of course, Spencer Knight is in the employee assistance program right now. 4 defensemen signed: Ekblad, Montour, Forsling, and Mahura, and 11 forwards. So I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna. I think 2 years from now they only have 2 forwards signed: Tkachuk and Barkov. 2 seasons from now. I mean, it's like Zito can pretty much make this team in his old mold at this point, right? I mean,
and Montour and Forsling only have 1 year left.
Yeah, so, Montour, you got to lock in and make him your core. Listen, I think Barkov is a tremendous player. I think that the rumors that I'm hearing about them potentially getting rid of him and moving him and bringing in somebody else. Like, have you guys heard any rumblings?
Imagine a Brady Tkachuk for Barkov.
Okay, so we're the rumor boys. Everybody knows that. We've throw a few out there, propositions, but this is what I'm hearing is a potential Brady-Matthew reunion, and then Barkov's the guy out. Where are you guys reading that?
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it.
I haven't read it anywhere.
Are you hearing it from some fucking rando at the elbow room in the corner on the way to the bathroom? Or are you like, who are you hearing it from, Murls?
I'm on sweet level hearing these things, Biz.
I don't know. Also with Gudis, he's a free agent. You got to bring him back, right? But I don't know what's he gonna get. What would you pay him a year, Biz? Because you got to remember, it's not
pay him in meat, like just whatever red meat he wants, unlimited.
Like the Liver King,
the 2 stalls, Gudis, Lion, and Hornquist.
That's where they got to bolster up. They got to get deeper on their back end from like being able to move. They need to look like Vegas's back end. I mean, I know that ain't easy, but you got your Montour, you have your ace. Ekblad's got 1 more year left on his deal, or 2.
He might even have more than that.
He's got 2 more at 7.5.
So you got your 1-2. You just need to get those second and third pairings dialed in. You got goal. They have enough crafty guys up front. They still got Duclair 1 more year at a 3-year deal, or one more year at a $3 million deal. Reinhart, Bennett. They still have a great group. I think they need to focus that money on making their back end a little bit more competent. And that's not taken away from any of the guys who helped them out throughout this run. But you look at the things that would need to put them over the edge, that would be one of the most addressed areas, in my opinion.
They'll most likely be very active in the free agent front as well. Like Tkachuk, Barkov, Bennett, Verhaeghe, and Delpy are the only forwards signed beyond next season. So got to be spending some dough somewhere. We already talked about your TNT crew, Biz. Did you see that drone video? That I think it must have been
that was amazing.
That was absolutely incredible. We should tweet it out from the Chiclets feed. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It was awesome stuff. Let's see, boys. I think we should maybe bring Zach Whitecloud, unless you have any final thoughts you want to talk about for the series.
No, I think that's good. We got the Conn Smythe winner, and then we got a guy on, in quotes, the third pairing with Nicholas Hag and another guy, undrafted, been through a lot. It was great talking to him. So we get the Conn Smythe winner, and then we got considered a depth defenseman. So we appreciate him coming on. Here's Zach Whitecloud.
Okay, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Top Legends. With Jaromir Jagr as an ambassador, Top Legends will be celebrating ice hockey legends through their commemorative, one-of-a-kind value notes. Each series that Top Legends releases will feature 7 commemorative value notes with 7 different legends. These will be issued over a period of 7 years with 1 value note released annually. In 2023, Top Legends starts with the Ice Hockey Legend series, but expect more to come involving sports and arts legend. Each value note has its serial number, making it truly one of a kind, giving you a chance to collect the whole Ice Hockey series with the same unique number. Limited issue with no future reissue, product sold to people 18 years or older. Subscribe at toplegends.com to make sure you don't miss out on anything big. Also, subscribe to the Top Legends YouTube channel and watch the launch event live from Vegas on June 28th. All right, we're going to welcome our second guest to the show. After 2 years at Bemidji State, this undrafted defenseman was signed as a free agent by Vegas and just finished up his 5th season as a Golden Knight. He was already the first Indigenous player from the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation in NHL history, and now he's the first Indigenous player from Sioux Valley Dakota Nation to win the Stanley Cup. We're very happy to welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Zach Whitecloud. How are you doing, my man? You all recuperated from the weekend or what?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for appreciate you guys having me on. When RA messaged me on Instagram, the first thing I said was, why do you guys want me on here?
I thought you and RA were playing tummy sticks at the party. That's where I thought you guys met and how you guys talked about this interview. Is that not how it happened, RA?
I know we shot the shit for a little bit. I maybe a little fuzzy on the details. I thought he brought it up, but yeah.
Oh, weird.
Sorry, it was 4 in the morning in Vegas.
Oh, who's the drunkest guy at the Stanley Cup? Oh, it's this guy RA that works for a podcast nearby. He must have won the Conn Smythe.
Game 3,
RA was on cruise control that night.
So how'd the parade go the other day? It looked like a raucous time with all the videos out there.
I mean, it was Vegas. I guess that's the best way you can describe it. I mean, both sides of Las Vegas Boulevard were completely packed, and I mean, it was a later parade than I think usual. It was kind of closing in on sunset, and just the way that kind of vibe was around the downtown area and the Strip, and it was so loud the entire time. I think we might have been on the buses for maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, somewhere around there, and the entire time it was just incredibly loud, and the fans were great. They let us get off the buses and kind of go and drink with the fans and show some T-shirts and stuff. So it was a good time.
It was unreal. I think they learned their lesson from the parade planning from when Sanford. Remember they had the drop tops, and it was like the day after. Like they've been on a huge bender, and Sanford ended up puking in the back of the drop top. So they're probably like, "Hey, let's go with the sunset, so it nice and eases the mood, and then you don't got the sun blaring on you guys." So it looked like a riot. So much cool fan experience as well. I think it was Martinez who was going by, so each fan along the way got to touch the Stanley Cup. So you guys did a heck of a job, man.
Yeah, and I mean that's a credit to everyone behind the scenes. That I mean, we just go out there and we party and all that stuff, right? But there's a lot of moving parts that go into organizing that stuff, especially on short notice too, right? So it's a huge credit to not only our city but the people in our organization for getting things organized and kind of keeping everyone on time, right? It's during those types of events, it's pretty it's everyone's everywhere, right? And they're having a good time. We're not aware of time constraints or anything like that. We're just kind of like RA on Cup night. We were just cruise control and no, just having fun though, right? And everyone was able to get everyone on the buses, stay on schedule, and it ended up turning out incredible.
And extra credit to whoever had to take care of your D partner, because he was on a different planet.
How funny is that video?
That might have surpassed, as far as time you have to invest into it, the Wild Bill, and we'll get to that. But that is going to be a meme forever.
Oh my gosh, how funny was that? That was all time. He's hilarious,
right?
Oh, he's one of the best. He's got a great sense of humor, and I forget who was telling me. It might have been my mom, actually, because our parents were allowed to come on the floats with us. And obviously Hager was crushing beers and stuff like that. And I think his mom was close by him, feeding him food so that he didn't, so that he was
running along the parade line.
Yeah. That's what I heard anyways. You might have to fact check that, but his mom was making sure that he was eating right and not overdoing it too much.
So for some people who are listening who aren't too dialed in, we're talking about his D partner, Nicholas Hague, who you actually were playing with as a partner even before you got to the NHL in Chicago. So you guys have been boys and have come up together, and it just so happens you guys were the third pairing on this team. But as I kept saying on this pod, it feels like you guys had 3 top pairings. Like you guys had so much chemistry. You were shutting, big lines down when you had to, contributing offensively. So this partnership with this guy goes way back.
Yeah, it does. I think our first year in the minors together was, if I remember correctly, I think it was 2018. And we had a good team that year, which really, I think, helped our development there were a lot of young guys there. I mean, Kolsar was there too, and then a lot of guys ended up just kind of coming up through the minor league system. And since kind of day one in Chicago, Hager and I were put together, and then just kind of learned how to be pros together, which I think helps learning at the minor league level too. And then obviously you never assume you're going to have the same D partner when you go up to the big club. But for us, we've been playing together, I think, in the NHL now for, I think that was our third season. And, I basically know what the guy's going to do with the puck pretty much every time, right? You just understand one another and you gain that chemistry, right? And even for our other two pairs, like Petro and Marty have been playing together now for, it might have been like 2 or 3 years now as well. And then McNabb and Theodore have been playing together since day one, since the team came here. And it's not too often you find chemistry like that, right? And obviously you guys know being D-men, it's tough to stay with one partner for let alone a season.
Nobody wanted to play with Whit for longer than 2 games, let alone seasons.
Biz was so bad at D, they moved him to forward.
But it's been, just grateful that we're able to keep that chemistry throughout, right? And it does help. And as you said, we had 3 pairs that you can kind of roll over, and I think our coaches know that, each pair is going to go out and get the job done. And obviously, especially when you go on the road too, it's tough when you're searching for matchups and things like that, right? So it's, being able to have 4 lines that can roll over and play against any line, and then having 3 pairs that can go out, I think, is definitely a nice thing to have.
Can I propose a game show, a matchmaker game show with the 3 pairings going against each other, given the longevity of each pairing's time together?
They should
All right,
do
that would be great. You should host it.
That would be hilarious.
Would you guys be down for that?
Oh, I think most of us would be. Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Okay. All right. You have to write the questions though.
No problem, buddy. I'm on it.
Golden Knights social media is going to do this first day of camp next year. We're going to get shriveled.
Hey, let's do it on Foley's Ranch, because I heard this place is the ultimate playground. Like, describe this time at the ranch.
Well, first of all, the golf course is I think when we first started going there, I wasn't here the first year to go there. But then from then on, I think at that time the course was ranked like top 50 in the world. And this place, it's called Rock Creek Cattle Company. It's
I never even heard of it, and I'm
they're probably
golf
making
junkie.
beef jerky and shit there too. They're probably doing everything on that ranch.
You have to fact check that though. I'm pretty sure it was a top 50 or top 100, something like that. Like it's up there in the high rankings. And I mean, this place, like, there is no really off season for it. It's just always super nice. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Montana, but it's like, obviously it's mountains and stuff everywhere. And this course is built into this like little valley where the ranch is and stuff. And it's, I mean, you guys play some nice courses, but this place is incredible. And then after that, you can go ATVing, fishing, hunting, all that sort of stuff. It's super grateful every year because, Bill's treated us incredible since day one, right? So and then every year he takes us up there before kind of when we get that break in camp. He takes all the boys up there and just kind of have a time.
Ooh! Oh, I'm looking at pictures of it right now. This is actually insane.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Like Biz. All the views and stuff, like tee box views, the way you kind of got to hit shots and stuff like that. Like it's one of a kind.
You don't have to apologize to me. I'm a pigeon. The hunting and fishing, do you take part in that?
No, I'm a golf guy. I think I can't count how many times I've been there, but every time I've gone, I've tried to play as many holes as I can before I have to leave. It's you can play it as many times as you want. It's one of those courses you don't really get sick of, and you can play it from different tees too, right? And you can make it different every time.
Yeah, now I'm on the course tour, so I'm out of
it. Our Whit's out of the interview.
We'll talk to you in 10 minutes. Yeah.
So are you a stick?
I wouldn't say that. There's I'd say Stevie's a good player. Nabby's a good player. Theo's a good player. We have a lot of golfers on our team. We're pretty. We got a lot of guys that can play.
Do you guys get any? The Vegas golf scene, I think, is one of the best. And I know the season gets crazy, but maybe some off days. You guys get any mid-season golf, or guys kind of stay away? Yeah,
I mean, you try to, right? It just depends. Yeah. I mean, being in the West, you're coming home sometimes, and it's late. And the next day, you don't really feel like doing much, right? But
it's your one off day. You're like, I'm not going to get up and play.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of got to dig a little deep if you want to get out there, but. When we're home, we try to get out. I think most days we have some time, right? It's obviously nice having the nice weather here and getting out, getting some sun, especially during the season too, is nice. And just kind of getting that little disconnect too, right? Instead of sitting around the house all day and thinking about hockey, whatever it is, right? So, but yeah, we try to get out as much as we can whenever the time's available.
So we just talked to Marchessault and, like going over his kind of life and getting to where he's been in this team. He was great at describing all his teammates. So kind of want to ask you about him as a guy, right? Before we got on, you said there aren't many players like him anymore. So what does he mean to your team? I mean, you could tell just when we talked to him, pretty humble dude.
He is humble until he's not. He's
oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's why him and Phil battled so much, I guess.
Yeah, he's got, you know what? Whenever you mention, I think, playoff players and guys that just step up in moments, and you mention like those guys just have that swagger, right? That can step up and they can score those big goals and all those things. And he exemplifies all of that. And he's been a leader on this team for so long. And he's one of those guys that brings a team together and has that team morale, right? He's like a glue guy if you take it that way. He's loud. He's always chirping someone. He's having fun all the time. Even like, especially when you get into the playoffs, right? Like, you're trying to focus every single day and especially during practice and that stuff. But he brings the lightness and the energy to those atmospheres. And there's multiple other guys that do that, but I think he's one of a kind at it just because he's so loose, but he gets the work done, right? And he's a pro all the time. And yeah, he's my kryptonite when it comes to golf. You guys have heard clips of him chirping on the ice, right? So,
oh yeah.
I can't imagine how it feels when he means it, let alone on the golf course.
Oh no.
He's
just a bully. Just a bully.
Oh my God. He gets in my head so easily too. It's the worst.
It's because he's got all the money to play with. So if he loses it, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
they're playing with
exactly.
the upper hand. That's what's happened. It's like Whit playing with Jordan, or I don't even know if I could say that. I just got you nixed from Jordan's playing list.
I think I was done anyways.
Zach, I want to go to the third period. You guys got a pretty big lead. How do you keep yourself from getting ahead of yourself? You're on the verge of winning the Stanley Cup. Well, guys, just trying to stay level.
9-3, dude. His game's over.
Well, that's
They
what I'm
pop
asking.
bottles
It was
between the second
6-1.
and third.
I mean, it was 6-1 when the period started. I mean, just curious how that goes. The guys, like, when do you realize, it's going to happen? You start to celebrate a little bit.
Yeah, obviously it's, I mean, it is tough, right? Because you've been dreaming of that moment for, however long you've been alive, and when you get that close, especially, going throughout that series, you're just trying to, take it game by game and focus shift by shift and not get too far ahead of yourself. And it's a cliche, but it's so true, right? Especially when you get into those later rounds, it can be easy to look ahead and be like, what if and all those sorts of things, but trying to stay in the moment and enjoy the experience, right? And take in, what the atmosphere is like and the lead up and the pressure and all that stuff, right? That's part of, why we play the game, is to enjoy that stuff. But when you get to that point, you start looking at the clock and just counting down and stuff like that, right? And again, it's you don't want to start celebrating or playing loosely, right? Because you're still again, I think we owed it to ourselves to finish it the right way too and play till the buzzer, right? So and then obviously once it came down to a minute and stuff like that, and it started to sink in pretty good.
You personally, like, I didn't know a ton about your game. Obviously, I've seen you play the past few years, but I did notice you signed that 6-year, I think $16.5 million deal, and now it's like, is there a sense of like, fuck, man, I could have probably made a lot more because you continue to improve, you continue to get better, or are you just real happy like being in Vegas? That's why you signed long term, you want to be there, etc.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly it. Went like, don't get me wrong, the thing I try to remember, and it's not me saying that if I didn't have a contract, I'd go out and get X amount of dollars. I could care less about that. When I signed it, I try to remember the mentality I was in. I was a kid that was undrafted throughout all junior leagues, and then obviously in the NHL. And I originally went into college just trying to get my degree and get out of there.
No, like pro hockey wasn't even on your mind.
No, not whatsoever, and nor was it like my family's. And if you would have saw me going into college, you would have been like, yeah, that's not a pro hockey player. And then I was given a shot. I went to Bemidji State up in Minnesota, and they gave me a shot, and I ended up obviously just developing really well. And then went to LA development camp my first year after college, and that's kind of when it sunk in where like, I could maybe do something with this. But even then, it still wasn't like realistic at all. I was just playing to like trying to get my degree and then kind of move on, work, start a career, whatever it was, right? And then it kind of took off. So I always try to remember kind of where I came from and why I signed that deal is because, one, I love it here. It's home now. This is where I spend my off season. I spend year round here.
Really?
Yeah. So obviously the heat is one thing, right? But because you lived in Arizona, probably during the summers,
I gotta get out
toasty.
of here for like 2 months. I go back to Victoria, BC to get some fresh air.
Yeah, and I'm from Brandon, Manitoba, so all my buddies and stuff have moved out and are at university or have jobs other places, right? And so it's just easier for me to stay down here and go to the rink and have that. I'm a 10-minute drive from the rink, and that's where all the treatment and skating. You have ice 5, 6, 7 days a week if you want it. So it's, we've and then obviously again going back to it, that's why I signed here, is because one, the team's good every year, right? You're competing for a cup every single year, and for me, that's why I play this game, is to win. And you know what I mean? I want to be on a winning team for as long as I can be. And that's where I get enjoyment out of the game, is playing with all these guys and winning and creating memories like that. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's you can look back on where you signed and what you signed for, but at the same time, I'm just grateful that I get to keep playing in this league every single day. And that's the main focus, right? Is to keep winning cups with this team.
And the other great
that's what
thing
Marchy
is,
said too.
The
I
other
just
great
want to
thing,
stall.
Oh yeah, exactly. He said the best stall in the NHL is a stall in the NHL, which is, I'd never heard that. I loved it. But for you too, like maybe as you've gotten better and you continue to get better, like maybe you left money on the table in quotations, but also with a team that's always gonna be up against the cap, you're now such an elite signing for them because you're a bargain. So in a sense, if you love it there, it's even better because they got no reason to ever trade you, because like, well, this guy's only making 2.5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. It's there aren't enough good things I can say about this organization in terms of how I've been treated since day one. They really paid attention to my development and helped me become a pro and then eventual regular at the NHL level, which was obviously the end goal for both sides, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I signed my deal out of college, is because they were a new team and they had some room on D to eventually in a year or two try and sneak my way in, and then obviously it ended up working out. But just the way our owner treats us, the way that the culture is around here about winning, and that's something I want to try and continue for hopefully after my contract as well, but into those later years of my career. I take a lot of pride in being a Vegas local now and playing well and trying to obviously now bring a cup to this city.
Obviously, you're a smart guy. You go to school. You said you wanted to get your degree and get out. Did you already have something in your head that you wanted to take and then get the heck out of there and go professional with?
Not really. I'm not that smart either. So it's I was just kind of like finding my way, just figuring out kind of what I had a passion for. To be honest, it probably would have been something in hockey afterwards. I was just, it's the same thing as Phil. I just love the game. I love to play it. Having this for a job, still doesn't sink in some days. You wake up, you go to the rink, you come home at whatever time. And it's still, and I look back on where I could have been as well. I could have been, working somewhere doing that sort of stuff. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just that, I never grew up ever thinking that hockey would be something where I wake up and go do every day. It was probably more of like go to the beer league at 8:00 at night and have your beers and then go home, right? So
now you're pouring champagne down Steve Aoki's throat and whoever other fucking DJs were DJing for you guys. What a world, eh?
Aiden Hill was on the DJ booth there for a minute. Did you see that?
He was spitting. What was the Eminem track?
Was it Till I Collapse?
Lose Yourself, right?
Or Lose Yourself.
Oh, Lose Yourself. That's right.
Is he doing that before games in the room to get the boys going? A little karaoke time?
No, I think the next day he was like, Aoki handed him the mic. He's like, do you know how to sing Lose Yourself? And he was like, not really. And then he just gave him the mic. just started sending it. And It was pretty funny though. He was in the moment, so it was cool to see him do that.
He like went in the zone. I thought it was Eminem. He was spitting every lyric. He was fucking bobbing up and down and shit.
He was dialed in. Yeah, he was dialed in.
What other silliness came from the partying aspect? Like what were some stories that maybe haven't leaked that you were just like, oh God, this is a Project X type situation. What a show.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There honestly, there wasn't too much. I mean, RA was there the first night. Where was it at Jewel, right?
And then the second place, Omnia.
Right. Yeah. That whole time at Jewel, RA didn't even take 2 steps away from the bar. I don't think.
Oh yeah.
Don't be dirty.
Shocker.
There, Zach.
Here's my surprise face. It's crazy because he was involved with all these behind the scenes party, but yet we haven't heard a word about them. It's because he doesn't remember. He got hit with the Men in Black buzzer. Gone. Memory gone.
Either that or he's keeping the stories on lockdown.
Well, he better be saving them for the pod. But then come 10 years from now, there'll be something that happened in Golden Knights and he'll be like, oh, flashback. And there'll be this picture with you in RA just hammered with the cup in hand. He's been to every fucking behind the scenes cup party since it started being introduced.
Yeah. How do you sneak into those? I'm always curious.
It is kind of funny because there were three parties afterwards. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I snuck in the Trojan horse. You kind of get with people or behind people who are going to be going in, and you just look like them. You just walk right in. The little Trojan horse style. He
kidnapped Foley's driver, and he was driving around all the spots.
Yeah.
Man.
After the second one, I met a couple guys who had relatives on the team or in the front office or whatever. So I kind of one of them gave me a wristband that I was all set after that. But yeah, just act like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah, it was cool seeing you in there. It was cool chatting for a bit.
Yeah, likewise.
As far as stories though, there isn't anything crazy. I think for me the funniest thing was Hager's like 7-minute clip there where he was asked how he was feeling. I watched it the next morning probably like 10 times. It was hilarious.
On loop.
Yeah, and then Carly's speech. I think that was all time best moments of a parade. I think
Carly's speech was just like Marchy was talking about how I think it was Kim. He mentioned just like dragged him off. I was like, is that his wife? He's like, no. This lady's like, we've had enough. You got to get this guy off. But it was a great speech. I'll say that.
That was right from the heart too. Hey.
Oh yeah.
And the
Zach,
ball. So who had a hand in like kind of forming this defense squad and the way that you guys played? I felt like you guys you guys sacrificed your bodies. You guys blocked a ton of shots. Like, who was the defense coach and how much of molding did he have on that group? I think it was John Stevens, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Johnny Stevens behind the bench this year.
Yeah, so I mean, he'd won cups with LA, so I'm sure that he talked to you about the sacrifice and the commitment as all 3 pairings and what you guys had to do in order to bring this group together.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good point, right? It's first of all, you got Johnny Stevens back there who has experience in those situations, right? And then, I mean, you got Alec Martinez now. That was his 3rd cup, and then you got Petro who won one, and you got Barbashev, and you got Stevenson. A lot of guys that have been down that road before, and that filters through a locker room, right? Especially when you get in those really close situations where the nerves might be amping up a little bit or the pressure. And all those guys, spoke up and. Said things to kind of, whether it was to calm the group down or motivate, whatever it is, right? Having those guys speak and be confident in those situations, kind of bleeds throughout the group, right? I mean, that decor, I mean, you got, and then to the blocking shots part, you got Alec Martinez who leads the league every single year. And then you got Petro, who's a number 1 defenseman in the league. And when you see him doing all these things, it's not that we, guys are scared to do it, but you feel not obligated, but you want to do it, right? Because you see that guy doing it and making sure that we take care of, it's more so helping our goalies too, right? And making their lives easier. And it goes all throughout our lineup. And I think in the playoffs, it specifically showed as well. All of our forwards have bought in consistently over the years about blocking shots and getting in lanes and keeping a lot of stuff to the outside. So, no, we it's something we do take a lot of pride in. And, obviously when you see guys like Marty, Naber, and Petro and Theo and those guys do it, it just goes throughout the lineup.
You said like calming comments throughout the run. Can you remember any specifically where was it like John Stevens pulling you off to the side and saying something, hey, relax, maybe not the best game last game or whatever it may be? Or was it more guys like in the locker room after a game standing up and saying, boys, we deserve better, or we got to be more of this or whatnot?
Yeah, it's a bit of both, right? I think coaches obviously play a big part in that in firing up a group or calming them down, right? But I mean, even specifically, the one thing that sticks out to me was after Game 3. Johnny Stevens pulled Hager and I aside and just kind of went over some stuff from the last game and just reiterated the good stuff, because obviously after losses, I think it amplifies in the playoffs too. You're kind of hard on yourself a little bit more, right? What could I have done to help the team win, or what could have been done differently, and you try to reflect, right? And I think every player is hard on themselves at some point, and it's natural. And having a guy like John Stevens who's been through that, pulling us aside and helping us just kind of move past it and cut the cord a little bit. Because I think at that time of year, it's during the regular season, I think it's a lot easier if you have a bad game. It's easy to kind of leave it at the rink and go home and do whatever you do. But especially in playoffs, I think having those to reaffirm the positive things you're doing and keep playing the right way. It's one game doesn't define how a series goes or carry it into the next game. And Johnny's good for that. Petro's good for that. Marty, Stoney, all these guys, right? To just tell the group in general, we're fine. We're gonna move on. New day tomorrow, and keep going from there.
Zach, do you have any idea what you're gonna do? What you're gonna do when you get the day with the cup there? Any plans yet?
Yeah, we've been busy the past week or so, so it's haven't had a ton of time to think about it. I know I do. I'm taking it back to Brandon, where I grew up, and then going to take it out to my home reservation in Sioux Valley, which is 20 minutes west of Brandon. And then going to try and take it out to my junior A town that I played in for 2 years. That was a big part of my life, because I almost didn't make it out of like AAA hockey when I was like 17, 18, somewhere around there. Like the team that I played for ended up putting me on their reserve list, like because I had never been drafted or anything, or so they protected me, and then I ended up making the team next year, and I had great billets that kind of helped me figure out life a little bit. And so I want to take it back there because that's a meaningful spot to me, and then eventually take it back to Brandon and have a little night with it.
Well, I know you've
Nice.
mentioned how much your heritage means to you, and I can't imagine how much it'll mean to the people that you grew up with, bringing the cup back there. And what was hockey like for you growing up? I mean, how many rinks were there around? Like, how much were you skating? Are there a lot of kids your age playing, or how was it like getting into the game there?
Yeah, I mean, getting into the game was no problem. My dad played growing up, so obviously being Canadian, especially obviously Western Canadian too, we have winters there. You have ice available to you like 6 or 7 months of the year, just being outside, right? So access to that stuff was never an issue, honestly. And I think a lot of guys say it too, that where I kind of gained a passion for the game was actually on the outdoor rinks and just messing around with your friends and basically playing till your feet fell off, right? Those are the times where you remember when you kind of reflect on, I've throughout the past couple of days, those are the times that I remember. That's where you grew the love for the game, right? Just playing because you love it. And those are the times that are special too. And it's I was lucky to grow up in a town where hockey was very prevalent. And, we had, I think my town was probably 45, 50,000 people growing up. So you play with the same age group, same guys growing through each level, right? Which was kind of nice. And then once you started hitting the travel teams, guys sort of branched off and did their own thing. But no, Brandon's been known for a hockey city. And I actually played for my local community team out in Sioux Valley when I was probably 6, 7, and 8. And then once travel hockey started, I had to go into town and start playing with. It was always called the Vikings. That's what the travel teams were.
You got any trips planned this summer? A little vacation or action or what?
Yeah. It's kind of tough for us right now. My girlfriend's studying for the bar, so she takes that on July 22nd. So lots of studying and lots of long days for that. So we're kind of trying to plan around that and at least try and make sure she feels comfortable studying and stuff like that. But no, we were gonna try and I think shoot over to Hawaii for a little bit. That's one of our favorite spots. Take a trip there. We went there on All-Star break with Huttons, Amadios, and the Waz, and that had been the first time I was there because we growing up we spent all our money on hockey, so we never got to go on vacations and stuff like that. So that's probably one of my favorite spots to go to. So we might do that.
I play with him audio. Oh my God, the guy, he like no heartbeat. I've never seen him get angry or slightly angry. Have you ever seen him get slightly angry about anything?
No, not really. Just in maybe just in golf. That's about it.
Okay, that's where where
that brings out the anger in everyone.
Yeah. It's you know what, it's gonna show your true colors for sure, that game.
So we did get a chance to talk to Marchy about pretty much everyone because he's so good at describing teammates. When I look back on this run, I think of that defense. I also think of the strength through the middle of the ice. And one guy I don't think who's gotten maybe enough national coverage is Chandler Stevenson. Like
that's unbelievable. Hey,
he skates just as well as Eichel. And all of a sudden, he just kind of found his game. And we had the chance to sit down with him at the All-Star game, but just like what a guy and what a hidden gem they found in a second line center in him.
I mean, when you say hidden gem, I think that's an understatement to what he's done the past couple of years now, right? And obviously seeing him play with Stoney and Howds now, it's incredible what he's done and what he continues to do. He's another one of those guys that's one of a kind, right? And also another kryptonite to my golf game. He
must be getting rinsed in these.
Yeah,
games.
Holy shit!
Oh man,
good
it's
thing there's no
unbelievable.
state tax there, and you took a team-friendly deal. At least you
and your wife's going to be a lawyer.
Yeah. He's always whenever he hits a long ball too off the tee, so he'll like hit it 5, 15, 20, 25 yards past me sometimes, and he'll just drive by looking at me, and it just crushes your heart.
With those nice teeth.
The best teeth, eh?
The movie
best
teeth.
Yeah. He no, and Stevie's been huge for us. He plays on the first power play, he kills penalties. He does everything, right? He does everything so well, and on top of that, he's quick. He's got a great shot. The way he sees the ice is incredible. Him and Stoney on the same line, it's unbelievable. So I mean, it's been really cool, I think, to see him kind of how he's grown with obviously like more opportunity. I think he said since he came over from Washington, and just the way he plays the game, and first and foremost, he's a great teammate. He's unbelievable.
And I feel like it really was able to bump down Carlson to the third line, where he also developed this shutdown role, where this guy scored 42 goals in this first year there, and all of a sudden he was able to adapt his game and become this like wet blanket for other teams' offense. So as far as the top three, and then we can stroke off the fourth line as much as any line because they were tremendous as well. But those top three were so lethal. Yeah, and I mean when you talk about Carly's line, that's not even a third line in the NHL. You know what I mean? Like that's a 1-2 in a lot of places, right? And we've got four lines that, like I said before, that you can roll over and throw against any line, whether you're on the road or at home. And that's such a huge advantage, especially in the playoffs, right? And our fourth line, they're heavy, they're big, and they can score and produce. And I mean, when you got that mixture, it's tough to play against. And I mean, you guys know as D-men, when you're playing against a line that they're trying to put you through the first row, like every single shift, it's annoying, and it makes your mind constantly think, right? And every single line, it's just, they all have their uniqueness to them that just makes them so good.
What about Phil? What were your experiences with Phil?
Yeah, Marchy talked 30 minutes about Phil stories. That's it.
Yeah, Marchy loves Phil. Those guys, those guys go at it more than any teammates I've ever seen before. But it's just hilarious. You can literally sit in the corner of the room, like let's say before practice or before meetings, and you'll just watch the show for like 20 minutes. It's unbelievable. And you can hear Marchy all the way across the ring too. Like the guy's got a voice where you can just hear him everywhere. But no, Phil's been, I mean, Marchy probably described him as glue or something like that, right? Where it's a good reminder to always have fun with the game. And you know what? The guy makes the game look easy. It's effortless. And for what he's done and being able to, be a small part and experience what he's done consecutively was cool at the start of the year too, to be able to see that. And obviously Phil hates attention, right? He hates the ovations before the games and stuff and stuff like that. So it was funny seeing that. And
what's he saying? What's he saying before the game? Like, is he like, here we go again? Like that? That exact thing. Because it's coming, right? Most buildings you go into, they're wanting to, say their thing and congratulate him and stuff. And he just he sits on the bench and he just one of these and
and that's it. But Phil's an unbelievable teammate. And I got to, I didn't spend a ton of time with him, just a year, right? But in that time, he's just you understand why he's so liked on the teams he's been on. You know what? He plays the game the right way. He plays to have fun, and first and foremost, he's he has no problem joking around with the guys or taking shots, whatever it was.
And he did it all looking like RA, like a body like RA. His body simply defies science.
At least I shaved my head at a certain point.
He has to donate his body to science for when it's all over. Like, he's got it.
Yeah, someone's got to figure that out.
That interview too, he's like, as long as I just don't want to throw up tonight, or something about throwing up. Like, he is a piece of work.
Yeah. And he threw a shot at Toronto. I think he's like, oh, you thought I couldn't win.
Yeah, he's on my shit list.
I saw that too. That was funny.
I've asked him, I would say no less than 20 times to come on this show, and every time he's like, no. He
doesn't want to do it.
Off, Baze.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. And then every time I see him in person, he has a chuckle about it, but just like you said, does not like the attention. But what a career!
Yeah, he's I say it about a lot of guys, but he's a one of a kind too. He's no, I mean, all of these guys too. They're all great teammates and all great human beings, right? And I think that's what this organization has said from the beginning is like, once you get good people in the room, usually the hockey side takes care of itself. Like, winning will take care of itself at some point. And I mean, every single guy in that locker room would do something for one another, right? And it's now you're champions for life and your brothers for life too, right? So and that's what it felt like before all that too, right? Going through this year and going through the ups and downs and obviously it makes it a lot more fun when you're winning.
Zach, I was going to ask, I mean, you got such a good head on your shoulders and you've obviously figured this all out. And who would you say had the biggest impact throughout your career, like coming up? Like, you had some turbulence. You had the AAA experience where you got these little breaks along the way. Like, who kept you motivated and who did you kind of lean on to kind of siphon through all this stuff and get to where you're at now?
You know what? Honestly, like, it wasn't so much motivation as it was just I kept playing the game throughout all the levels just because I loved to play. And each opportunity I kept on getting, whether it was from junior A to college to the American League to the NHL, I was still just going to play hockey for the day and getting to do what I loved. And that was the cool thing about the whole ride is throughout like junior A and you guys know how junior is. Like, you get up, you go play, and then you have the rest of the day and you're playing the game because you love it. And it's been a fun ride. And I won't ever tell anyone that my road was tough, because everyone's got different paths and struggles and that's the same for like work life too, right? Everyone's got their struggles. Everyone's dealing with something. Everyone's trying to fight adversity at some point or every day, if that matter, right? So I've just had fun with it. I've experienced failure. I've experienced success. Try not to get too high, too low, and just keep going along for the ride. I mean, as Marchy said, any day you have a stall in the NHL is a hell of a day.
Looks like they're going to be putting a baseball team out there soon. Have you been to any Raiders games?
Yeah, I've been to a few Raiders games. Yeah, they're pretty fun. I'm pretty excited. I'm a big baseball guy, so I'm pretty pumped to get the MLB here at some point. That'll be exciting.
Are you a Blue Jays guy like every other person from Canada?
No, I'm a baseball fan. I just like watching whatever. Yeah, I'm not really too biased one way or the other. I do like to see the Jays do well, and then obviously, like the Canadian I am, hop on the bandwagon once playoffs start.
Well, buddy, we can't thank you enough for hopping on. It was great to get a different perspective, obviously, other than Marchy's, because everybody's getting so pickled. And it was great to hear about your come up. And once again, buddy, congrats on all the success and have a great summer with the Cup and friends.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. It means a lot. You invited me on it. I appreciate it a lot.
Big thanks to Zach for jumping on with us, man. I got to talk with him a little bit in the club the other night. I know we have some laughs about it today, but great guy, man. He came over and said hello to me, and yeah, we had a nice little wrap. So we appreciate him coming on and hope you enjoyed it. Some other NHL news: the Devils extended Jesper Bratt with an 8-year, $63 million deal. Yeah, there we go, on cue. Comes out to $7.875 million a year. It's going to run through 2031. Got a no move clause for years 2 through 5, and then a modified no trade clause years 6 through 8. 73 points in 82 games last year. He had a career high in goals, tied his career high in points. 6 points in 11 playoff games. Whit, was that more money than you thought he was going to get, or right around?
No, I actually thought that was a great deal for Jersey. I mean, looking at what they got Hughes at that people questioned at the time, and then you saw him this season, and knowing the numbers Bratt put up. Now, granted, he kind of had a little bit of a disappearing act in the playoffs, but that's a lot of production for a guy making under $8 million. If in 2-3 years the cap's going to go up, whatever, $7-8 million, I love the signing. I do agree with Murls, though, that they got to address some size issues and maybe getting a little bigger and tougher. But I thought that for him to get signed, it would be over 8, under 8. I'm laughing at that. Another great deal by Tommy Fitzgerald.
You nailed that one. I think, definitely left some money on the table based on his playoff performance. And we talk about how the lack of physicality plays into that. But yeah, and I think that you probably as a GM, you go to the guy, you say, well, do you want to stay here and win and want this longevity to be part of this where our best player is making, and I know he wasn't, an unrestricted free agent by Jack Hughes. He was restricted and he signed that deal, but you can't possibly think you're worth more the same amount as Jack Hughes. Fall in line, take a little bit less. You're going to get your 8 years. You weren't exactly electric come playoff time. You mentioned the disappearing act. Let's fucking keep the band together and move this forward. And I thought it was a very friendly deal, everybody, all sides. And I'm very happy for Jesper Bratt.
That's what Timo Meier, Buddy Weeksy, tweeted that he's curious to see where things end up with Meier and the Devils as they go into salary arbitration. Sources with San Jose told Weeksy that the Sharks offered over $9 million to Timo Meier. So it's curious to see what the Devils have. I know they kind of a little strict.
I agree with you, Murls. It's like you can get Barbashev cents on the dollar to where, maybe he's not getting you what Meier put up in the regular season, but you have a playoff proven player who could play with high end talent. That is a massively cheap replacement of Timo Meier, even at 8.5. If you're telling me he already turned down 9, but we heard from guys who have won before, it's like, well, it's a lot easier to take less when you know the team's going to be good for a long time. So maybe he lands in that similar area to what they gave Jesper Bratt, and I think that's a good deal for Meier. But anything north of 9, I didn't see anything in playoffs that was that impressive.
Right now, the Devils got $26 million in cap space. Only 13 guys signed, so I don't know. Gonna have to do a little finagling somewhere along the line.
Am I crazy here? Is $9 for Timo Meier out of this fucking world?
$9 would be out of the world, but
sign him.
Oh, did I say $9?
Yeah, $9 million.
$9 million,
year, man.
$9 million.
I guess
I forgot how to speak.
Somebody would give him that, right?
Is Shirelli still in the league?
I don't know.
Sorry,
$9 million.
And then he only gets.
When I hear
get Barbashev for
year,
5.
I don't think of Timo Meier.
No, that's Jack Eichel or Sidney Crosby or $9 million.
Hey, but
maybe for $9 million, you could get Barbashev for 5 and go get another D for 4.
Maybe it was because it was Man Jose and there's no girls here. You pay me $12 million, I'm not staying here. That would be my only
theory. Got to fly them in. Let's see. The Canucks bought out defenseman Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He still had 4 years on his deal at $8.25 per the deal he signed with Arizona back in 2018. Vancouver's cap hit was $7.25 million because Arizona was eating a piece of that. The buyout's going to be spread out over 8 years for both teams. Obviously, Vancouver's going to be taking it off the chin. He had 51 points in 133 games with Vancouver. He's going to be unrestricted. He's only fucking 31 years old still. I thought he was 35 years old. He's only 31. He's going to be 32 in July. So, do we see him maybe sign with a playoff caliber team? Maybe get utilized in a different rule. Maybe have a bounce back season. Is that possibly in the cards?
Like a Shattenkirk when he went to Tampa.
Oh no, yeah.
Great
analogy
he's kind of an example of like the new age NHL. Like you lose that half a step and things change. I mean, this guy is one of the best skating defensemen. I think he slowed down a little bit, but I also think you're kind of like exposed a little bit when you're on Vancouver playing that many minutes. Where if his minutes go down, he's making way less money. He could be really good on a contending team. So yeah, I don't think you'd see him sign a deal with like an also-ran team, but I think you'll see him take a lot less than maybe he could get and sign with a team that could win it and maybe still be top 4, but not have to play 25 minutes and be exposed a little bit in terms of his foot speed going down a touch. Would you agree, Biz?
Yeah, so he's like, from talking to people close to him, he's really making an effort this offseason to bring his game, try to bring it back to where it was. Like making, different diet changes, different, weightlifting, like he's created a regimen. So it sucks to hear that they went down that road because I really think that he was, going to get his game back to where it could be. This is a guy who I consider a friend of mine, and to see him get bought out, obviously it's a shitty day. But like you talked about, it does bring a new beginning. It brings a beginning where maybe you're going to be slotted a little bit more carefully, where he might be a fourth defenseman on a good team, right? Where he comes back and he's an awesome asset, and he's also making $2.5, $3 million, where it's like nobody's talking about that. So for him to be eating up as much as he was at the production where it is now, yeah, it just wasn't aligning properly, and that's the casualty to the hard cap now. And he's the type of guy where he's a competitor. He's won at the national level. And he was awesome. Incredible. He had 2 back-to-back 20-goal seasons as a defenseman. I think he had double digits in goals for 6 or 7 straight years as a D-man. So he has that threat to his game. He's just got to find it again. And I hope he finds a happy home for it. So I agree with everything you're saying though. It's like the money nowadays, like it's just that label. It just can suck you down, especially with a negative fan base. If you can't block out the noise, it's a killer. It's a killer. Why are you laughing, RA?
I don't know. It's been a funny show, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, we've been everywhere.
I think he would be, I would be on him big time. Look what Stahl did down in Florida. Everybody kind of thought he was done. You paired him with Montour, and he took off. You think about that. Put him with a young guy. He just plays on the side. You pay him $1 million. He's making enough on the buyout. He's Swedish. He doesn't care too much about the money. He's not going to try to take it all from you. So I would have him high on my board.
And he's already made so much. I would say he's going to be north of 50, maybe north of $60 million at this point. Maybe you take a 1-year deal like Klingberg did at a higher number, where they don't have to make this long-term financial risk, and you're looking at it as if, hey, it's a prove me year, where you could take that gamble on yourself based on those things I talked about. You don't know what
31,
he's thinking.
So it's like, even if you have a great year, you're not getting like a long-term deal. So if you could get like a 4-year deal for
4 year times 4, like look at Evander Kane got that after getting his chance there and having a great year. So yeah, I think I would love to see him bet on himself and succeed, especially with the approach he's taking and the mentality he's taking pre-buyout.
All right, Patrick Sharp returned to the place where his NHL career started, Philadelphia, and joined the Flyers as special advisor to hockey operations. Jonesy taking care of his boy. Does this instantly make Philly the best looking front office in the NHL?
It's a good looking front, and I'm glad that you brought this up. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. Is I didn't get to say bye to Jonesy, who finished his last game as in between the bench color analyst, and he was fucking awesome. Great guy to have on your team, and he's off to the bright lights of managing that team. But we talked about this round table that he was going to go assemble, and he is on the right path. Just the man missiles.
Patrick Sharp is championship mentality, Stanley Cups.
3 cups.
And his biggest win of his career, do you know what it was? What he talks about it all the time.
The Chiclets Cup.
His Chiclets Cup in Vegas on the Barstool roller team.
The first cup that was raised in Vegas.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, too.
I fought Sharp in the minors. Legendary brawl. Still talked about this to this day.
That's why he had to get his new teeth.
All right, let's see. Calgary welcome back franchise legend Jerome McGinley as the Hockey Hall of Famer, signed on as special advisor to the general manager and his longtime teammate Craig Conroy. This seems like a nice cushy gig, Whit. One of your boys gets a nice gig. Come on and talk to my ear a little bit.
You only get it if you're a legend. Like, you don't get special assistant to anyone unless you're unreal or you're like Dwight Schrute. Like, you have to be an unreal player to get those jobs. It's more like the guys who've won the cup. So I know McGinley hasn't, but Hall of Famer. And you got to be one of those guys to just be brought in just to chill and get a little paycheck.
You could go into the media buffet before games, and that's all you do for the organization. And you're going to get a fancy title if you score 500.
No, Craig Conroy's like, what do you think about this? Like, I like it. Like, perfect. Check's on the way.
Well, he said that the only reason he considered it was because of Conroy becoming the GM. I thought that was his quotes. So that also helps his boy out getting that seat. Yep. I would imagine bringing him back had something to do with it.
It seems like Matthew Tkachuk might start a little ripple effect here. Winnipeg RFA, Pierre-Luc Dubois, he told his Jets that he does not want to re-up there long-term. He gave a list of teams that he's willing to sign long-term with. His qualifying offer is $6 million. He's going to be 25 in about a week. I mean, we saw in the playoffs a couple of years ago, when he brings his A game in, that kid is a fucking bull out there. But the thing is, he doesn't bring it all the time. And, Matthew Tkachuk's reputation was probably a little bit better as far as a team maybe willing to go out there for him. But, Murls, do you think he gets his wish and ends up in Montreal, which is obviously what he's wanted his whole career?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of changes in Winnipeg. Just everything, the way it's gone down the last 2 years, it hasn't been good. And it's time for a restart up there. Get some guys that want to be up there. You saw when Ekholm, he went to Edmonton and how excited he was to go up to one of these northern cities and Canadian cities. So there is guys out there that want to be in these places, and you're not going to win with guys that don't want to be there. So get them out of there, get some picks you can get back, and find some players that want to be there and help you win.
The thing is, though, I think Dubois only has one more year till he's UFA. Is that correct, RA? I'm pretty sure after one more season he's UFA. So in terms of Montreal trading for him, if they know he's going to sign there anyways, it's like, hey, take this or we'll just get him in a year type thing. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I thought I've read that. But it's an interesting situation in the NHL now, like almost a little like the NBA where you saw Tkachuk do it, you saw Eichel do it, and you see these young studs, and if they're good enough, they're very willing now to be like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore, get me out. And you really do hold the team hostage. I'm not dogging any of those guys, but it's just the way the game is now. Like, if you're that good and you know there's other teams that want you and you don't want to be there, you could back in the day, this didn't happen. You had to just eat it. But now these young studs are just saying, hey, I want out, and the team pretty much has to move them. So it is a slow change happening around the league where the top players can pretty much decide, RFA or not, like, I don't want to be here and get rid of me, and they kind of have to listen to him.
It does seem like a sea change here. You wonder, like, why haven't guys and agents done it before? I mean, it was always an option on the table. Do you think Biz, they didn't want to, like, maybe piss off front offices and, like, they were too deferential maybe? Like, I don't know. Anyone could have done this
I don't
before.
know. It was just kind of like the culture. It just seemed like
I was going to say that.
It was just like most guys weren't really willing to kick up the dust, and kind of this be grateful for where you're drafted mentality. Yeah, I mean, I always felt that type of loyalty too to my club, but I also wasn't in a position where I had to go out there and play first line center. And if it
takes a lot of balls, I'll say, to make a complete enemy out of a fan base, right?
Correct.
Where I think now it's like guys are just more willing. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to be here. I know I could be a better player somewhere else, and they're willing to kind of eat a lot of hate from certain fan bases to get where they want to be. And
I agree. Some guys don't have that mentality where they'd much rather just be like, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and I'm just going to be stay in the good pecking order, where they probably can't handle that scrutiny that you're talking about with.
The only interesting part in Dubois' case is, like, he was very excited. He wanted out of Columbus, right? And he's very excited to be in Winnipeg. And now he's not happy in Winnipeg. So, like, it starts happening, like, more often, and then you start questioning, like, all right, is he going to come here and not like it either? So obviously you got to take a kid by his word in terms of him really wanting to be a Montreal Canadian, but the whole thing is flipping and changing in terms of taking power of your own career if you're that young and that good.
Yeah, he's RFA right now, Whit. I think if he were to take a 1-year deal, I think
so. He has one more year of restricted free agency.
Yeah, this upcoming.
But he's
season,
not signed. Okay, good to know.
Let's see. Another one, Alex DeBrincat. He's a pending RFA as well. He gave the Senators a list of preferred trade destinations and hope the player and team can pull off a sign and trade. He just finished a 3-year, $19.2 million deal. But his salary last season was $9 million. So that's where his qualifying offer starts. So anyone who wants him has to start off at $9 million. Great job by the agent there. So I don't know. Where do you think?
Or not.
Or not.
Because no one's going to fucking pay him that.
Anyone who gets him, it'll be a long-term deal.
Yeah.
In which you're not paying that average salary, so it's a little bit of like smoke and mirrors. But I don't know. I that guy's a goal scorer. He's a sniper. But like I've seen Carolina out there. Like that's not what Carolina needs. A superstar.
No.
Like I've been saying this. Like that's. And granted, they didn't have stretch and patches during this run, but it's like I that's not what's going to get Carolina over the top in my mind. So it's almost to me like that's I don't think that's what they need. But
they need Barbashev. Fuck, everybody needs Barbashev.
I know. That's why his agent
just start cloning him. That's how you make. If his agent is listening, just clone him. We can make a lot of money here. Dr. RA's lab. Get it going, RA. Start with the gene pools.
Comes out with 3 ears.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, he listens to his line mates. He's a great listener.
They're like, what happened to this clone? He came out of the RA lab. He's
6 eyes. He's got vision all over the ice.
down Mass and Cass.
Yeah.
Boston
Noah
joke.
Hannafin. No, I know. Not Noah Hannafin. Same boat here. He let the Flames know he's not going to be re-upping there. He's heading into his final year of a 6-year, $29.7 million deal, a little under $5 million average. Then he's got a 8-team no-trade list. So I don't like this. Like I said, it's a little bit of a ripple effect.
What a
man.
sinking ship everybody wants out of Calgary. They better
this is
start
what
putting the
Murls is
fake tits
saying,
back in those girls at Cowboys. They'll get the boys to resign.
Murls is saying, like, they want people, especially Conroy's already talked about it. I want people who want to be here. So he's gone because it's like Conroy's like, you don't want to be here. I don't want any of these guys.
It's Will Smith, the photo of Will Smith. Nobody's in the room with him. The hell? Put the shitty locker room and Conroy in the middle and just no one in there. Wasn't that the last scene in
Yeah, when they all move out. and
Fresh
Uncle,
Prince of
Uncle
Bel-Air?
Phil's in the back
Fresh
getting
Prince.
loaded.
just cranking himself off.
Our long international nightmare is over. The sale of the Ottawa Senators, I can't say that word, Senators is
Me
done.
neither.
Not sure if it meets the criteria for a Chiclets bump. We talked about it last week, and they get sold about 2 minutes later. Toronto billionaire Michael Andlaro will become the new majority owner, paying about $950 million per Bruce Garrioch. The deal's pending approval from Bettman as well as the executive board, but there are no problems anticipated. So the Senators will get new ownership soon. In the awards, we got to do them real quick here, boys, because they are Monday night, so we don't want to be late with them.
We're going to be there, by the way. We're going to release a special pod
The
come
fact
Tuesday.
we're going to Nashville like in a week makes me sick to my
I haven't
stomach.
had my fun yet. You guys better be fucking on. You guys better bring the energy. I want to have a little fun with you boys out on the strip.
I'll see what I
bring
can do for you.
IV with me.
All right, we'll rip through this quick.
Just carry it around the strip.
We don't really need to do picks unless you want to. Just run down here. Jack Adams Trophy. I got Hackstall, Montgomery, and Ruff.
So these are all voted on before the playoffs. So that's
before the
Montgomery.
playoffs. Yep. The Norris, Fox, Carlson, McCarr,
Carlson.
the Calder, Beniers, Power, Skinner.
Beniers.
I'm
Three
giving
of
it to Beniers.
Same. Yeah, 3 different positions as well. The Selke, Bergeron, Heischer, and Mitch Marner.
I think it's Heischer's year.
Yeah, maybe some new blood there. The Lady Bing, Jack Hughes, Kopitar, Braden Point.
Jack Hughes.
What do we got here? Oh, Ted Lindsay, McDavid, Pasternak, Carlson.
Everything else is McDavid.
McDusty.
Okay, yeah. Oh, the Masterton, Keller, Letang, and Stalock.
Yeah, Kels.
Yeah, Kells,
Wow.
Letang.
Yeah, he
Obviously,
came
was
back from
through
the
a lot of
broken
shit.
femur. That he had a great year. Letang with what he went through with the stroke.
Yeah.
His dad's passing. That's a tough one to call.
It is. The Vezina, Hellebuck, Sorokin, Olmark.
I think Sorokin.
Yeah.
I think Allmark's going to take it.
Allmark is, yeah.
Based on body
we
of
just
work,
said,
I'd be okay with
it was
Sorokin
the regular
doing it.
season. And a hot, you just said McDavid, Pasta, Kachuk. So McDavid there. That does that. Call the Cup Finals. Let's see. The oldest franchise in the AHL, Murls, Hershey, taking on the newest franchise, Coachella Valley. Hershey lost the first 2 games by a combined 9-0. They won the next 3, and they can end it tonight. Well, we'll drop it Tuesday. They could end it tonight, so see what happens there. All 6 games have sold out, Biz, and the AHL had record revenues and record attendance this season. So
love that.
That the
Things going
players
up.
love
Hey,
that.
man.
In the AHL, that's where your playoff bonus comes from.
Penguins. Wilkes-Barre. We got to give shout out to our homage here.
Hershey's a wagon in the AHL.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
big time.
How many times have they won it?
Wilkes-Barre,
This will be 12 if they win it this
Holy
time. They got the record.
They're
yeah.
the London Knights.
yeah.
Wilkes-Barre next year, 25th anniversary, big celebrations going
yeah.
on. They got all sorts of stuff going on. Maybe we'll make a trip
Get
down
the
there.
PJ.
Yeah,
Hey,
Arsenal's
but
gonna
guess
dress
what,
up
though?
As the Penguin.
The Arena Bar and Grill's done.
Yes, I heard about that.
They're
know.
shutting it down. So
Jesus.
The game's
maybe they can
changed.
open it up for one last time.
A lot of
should've-
notches in there for you, Biz.
She should have turned it into a green smoothie bar. She'd still be in business.
All right. 2 final notes here. The WHL's Winnipeg Ice has been sold, and they're going to be going to, if I can pronounce this correct, Wenatchee, Washington for the next season.
Awesome.
Next year. I don't know. Wenatchee, never heard of that. And then Whit, Wyndham Clark nipped Rory for the U.S. Open yesterday. I saw a lot of people complaining about it, like there wasn't a good crowd there. There was a lack of electricity. Can wrap it up here. And
yeah, so LA Country Club, which is an amazing place. I've been fortunate enough to play it twice. Basically all the members bought up like all the tickets. So they made it very corporate. It was all suites. There weren't nearly as many fans on the ground as there were at the Country Club last year in Brookline or a lot of other places. So the vibe on TV was tough. Like, you know, they had a couple holes. There aren't even any fans near the holes. Like, there was hole-in-ones. Matthew Fitzpatrick made a hole-in-one, said there was like zero reaction. And I think it was overall like a kind of a disappointing watch. It was a great Sunday. I mean, I felt bad kind of rooting against Wyndham Clark. Like, Rory drives me nuts a little bit, but I also like can't help myself from rooting for him. But then as Wyndham Clark's story came out, he lost his mom to breast cancer 10 years ago when he was in college. He said, you know, she had gotten him into the game of golf. He was a freak college player and finally got his first win a few months ago at Wells Fargo or Quail Hollow, whatever. And then he wins the U.S. Open. I think a lot of places, I saw him 85-1 pre-tournament. So just to see kind of what he'd been through, and he broke down right when he made the putt, but he played nails, dude. He was unreal. This guy's hitting just high power fades, like 190 ball speed. Like the problem with golf, the pro golfers are too good. Like that course is not easy. It's big fairways, which makes it really easy for those guys. But you know, crazy green complexes and things, and they're just too good at golf. Like if you don't get wind and weather now, any course in the world, they're just going to chew up, and the top 5 guys are all going to be, you know, the U.S. Open was 10 under winning score usually.
Oh, I think that's a fun score. It's not too excessive, but at least they're scoring.
Yeah, people like the U.S. Open. It was always like the hardest test in golf, and a lot of times you've seen.
Well, weren't they all the players complaining about it?
They complain about it, but the fans like seeing them struggle and maybe over par winning a tournament. But you can't do that now. Like
get
these
the
guys, they're too
leather
good.
golf clothes on, just like they want to see the punishment.
Rory McIlroy has 19 top 10 in majors since his last victory.
Wow.
Which is coming up, I think, on 10 years since he's won a major. I don't have that exactly right, but it's just amazing to see, like, you see scar tissue evolve in a game like golf where it's like he was hunting down Cam Smith for the Open Championship last year. He couldn't make a putt. Same thing this year. He birdies the first hole, doesn't make another birdie in the final round, like hitting 16 of 18 greens. It's such a hard sport, but to see a new major winner, I think was exciting, even though I was kind of rooting for Fowler and McIlroy. But I had fun watching it, but I think there were a lot of complaints because the vibe seemed so bad on TV that people were upset in terms of, like, where's the madness? It's
a pretty stuffy course, too. I know Koepka was bitching about it and just kind of like the overall.
Well, there's a lot of rules there. You have to wear pants, no phones.
Oh, yeah. You have to wear a sport coat after 6 o'clock. Like, so all the real stuffy rules. But on top of that, it's the second highest valued landmass in all of the United States next to Central Park.
That isn't developed on.
That isn't developed on, right?
Yeah.
And they also have a loophole where they don't have to pay many property tax on it, where they might pay $1 million worth of property tax, maybe even less, like a couple $100,000, where normally for something of that size, it would be in the like tens if not hundreds of millions.
The land's worth $8 billion.
Yes.
And they have this 50-year-old tax law that they've just like grandfathered in where they don't I mean, they should be paying, I would guess a year,
millions.
what, 40 million? Like,
yeah.
They're able to just kind of finagle by on this old loophole.
Yeah. So pretty interesting.
We're going to wrap up. But Whit, I think the best part was after hoops and hockey just ended that we had primetime golf 2 nights in a row. That was pretty good.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Even,
put the kids down, and they were the leaders were only Saturday night. They were on like the 3rd hole. So I loved getting a chance to sit down and watch that. So one more major, which is it makes me sick to my stomach. It's like June 19th already. What the fuck? But yeah.
And RA, I'll go old school for you, RA, since there is no sports to watch lately. I watched a movie the other night, first time in years, where I don't know if you ever talked about this one, where the Crawdads sing.
I haven't seen it.
Even
I heard about it, but
it's on Netflix. It's a good one, and I don't bring much of movie recos, but Get that one locked in this week.
I can't wait this to be the worst movie RA's ever watched.
I'll put it out. No, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it. I'll put it in the queue.
Old?
It's an old. It was a book, and now it's a movie. Obviously, I didn't read the book.
I got something to watch tonight.
Yep.
Did it come out the same year as that wallpaper?
The old ladies like it.
Did it come out the same year as that wallpaper behind you?
That's a scratch and sniff wallpaper, actually.
Well,
all right, boys.
Gang.
Congrats to the Vegas Golden Knights. Thanks to Marchessault. Thanks to Whitecloud. Thanks to you guys. It was an amazing season. We're not done yet, but it's an amazing thing to see an expansion team 6 years old win the Stanley Cup. The league's in a great place. So, and all you listeners, you guys are always listening to us. The most loyal, amazing fan base I've ever met. Meeting people that like this show and appreciating us just shooting the shit and talking to different players. It's like the greatest. 100% the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life besides my kids. So thank you so much for listening. We love all you guys, and we'll be back next week with awards talk and everything else.